the way.
Oh, I didn't? Oh, okay. Well, that was just for us then.
Yeah, that was
I thought I started it. Oh well, now we started.
okay. That was funny.
Yeah. I mean,
There we go.
no, it's personal conversations. What that is.
Yeah. You will never know what we're talking about. Secrets.
Right.
We'll tell you later.
Have we heard from Mike since he sneezed? Is there a chance that he's just lying on his floor?
Did the sneeze kill him?
The sneeze might. You know what? I just heard a flush. So. Heard a flush.
Flush a sneeze.
Yeah, he's lying on his bathroom floor.
Yeah. He was so strong, he shit himself.
Oh wow, they're getting rid of the Facebook requirement to log into Oculus Quest headsets.
That's cool.
How's it going, chat? We're gonna get started here very soon.
Hey, chat.
See here. See this run down.
It would be funny if you didn't start the stream for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose so.
Uwu. Speaking of Uwu, there's really good anime this season. We're eating well, like the kids said.
Oh, you're eating lots of anime?
Yeah.
Wow.
We're well fed this
Gluttonous.
season.
Gluttonous on anime.
There's really good new anime, but I'm rewatching Cowboy Bebop. Because, you know.
Cowboy Bebop, what are you, a fucking nerd?
I watched the first episode again last night for like the 50th time in my life. That is maybe the best pilot of a show ever.
Oh yeah.
It is so good. It establishes the tone, and it's so like action packed, but also still so cool and everything. I don't know. My kids were like coming in the room watching it. I'm like, okay, it's violent, but yeah, it's awesome, isn't it?
Violent. There's some titties, but that's okay.
Well, they don't. I mean, they don't go. You don't see the nipple. So, there you go, Mike.
So okay.
That's good parenting.
I'll tell you what. There's a certain point where there's so much cleavage, you just may as well.
There is the part where she like leans over to drink her drink, and the boobs are on the counter, and
the
then
boobies on the counter. Yes.
The lecherous old men are just like.
That image is like burning my mind since I was a kid. Dude.
Yeah, same. I saw it on Cartoon Network with the Adult Swim. They actually showed that. I'm like, oh wow, okay.
I tell you what, I get it, and I just happen to like not really care about Cowboy Bebop, but it is becoming one of those things that I sure am tired of hearing people talk about, just because of the way the internet works now, and I'm forced to have to listen to discussions about things I don't care about sometimes.
I'll just say that, Mike, it's been like 25 years. Get over it. Like people are going to talk about a great show. That's all.
Wow. See, this wasn't even about Cowboy Bebop. He still got mad. It's just in general, like when that DC week fandom thing was happening, and all my Twitter was people talking about DC. It's like, I don't care. It's like they announced a 20th DC animated cartoon movie. I'm like, okay, and everyone's like, well, here's what I think about it. Like,
but DC is silly kid shit, Mike. That's the difference.
Yeah, DC is for nerds.
DC is for fucking nerds. I'm sure see, again, I even preface this, I'm sure Cowboy Bebop is very good. I just don't care. Actually, for some reason, I watched all of Samurai Champloo and not Cowboy Bebop just because my friends wanted to at one point.
Oh, that's pretty good.
So I watched all of that. It was fine. Okay, what do I need to do here?
We got a tweet, right? Got a tweet that we're live.
Oh, right. Tweet. Gosh, wait, Rachel.
Tell them they were talking about that Cowboy Bebop live action. Everybody hates.
Let's see. We could look at this.
Because I'm old, I don't hate anime live actions adaptations.
Mm-hmm. It's just nice. It's just nice that like someone is acknowledging the things that you liked when you were a kid. So it's like you're like, this feels nice.
I'm of the school. It's like, okay, even if it's awful, people we might get people to check the original material.
Mm-hmm.
So we might win some soldiers.
Rachel, I did say her name. I've just asked Dean if he can look at your story because we're about to record here. I don't think I have time to look at it. Either that, if he doesn't respond, just double check your stuff and post it. We'll be fine.
Yeah, we'll be fine. Her copies are like really clean. Like, yeah, we're good.
It's very clean. It's very clean. She misses sometimes. She doesn't include an Oxford comma, and I get very mad.
Wow.
Okay, well that's never mind. Never mind. Don't even publish. I don't trust her anymore.
Gets ugly.
It's one of those things where it's like the easy grammatical rules that are like that we know so well. That's like if they get those wrong, now I'm offended. But if it's like complicated stuff, I'm like, I don't really know. Maybe this is good. I'm not sure. All right. Podcast. I'm gonna tweet right now. Hang on.
Yes, I'm going to tweet also.
You need to set up your camera and shit.
I need to turn my camera on.
Yeah. Is mine? Did I turn mine on for you guys?
So what?
You did not.
Yeah, I don't see you. I'm still a rock star.
Ah!
Did
they send that to
Are
you,
you
Mike?
furry now?
What?
Never mind. They can't see you yet. Let's not spoil it.
Yeah. Sorry.
Right. I was like, what are you talking? Oh, yeah, right.
This is just me.
Yeah.
Right,
This is how I always look. I'm sorry I'm the only one who celebrates holidays, you heathen. You don't celebrate the good Christian holiday of Halloween.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck is he talking about? Is there some other Good Friday I don't know about? All right.
I
always forget when it's actually Halloween. The 30th
Sunday.
or 31.
31. 30th is Devil's Night in Detroit, Michigan, and that's where they bring. It's where they
do
yes, it's where and it's like during the 90s when I grew up, it was very serious in terms of arsons all over the city.
I was about to say, is this just another excuse for Detroit to destroy more public property?
You don't get to talk about Detroit. That's for me. You don't get to say anything. You're not from there.
You're so man. I can't talk about. I can't talk about Cowboy Bebop. I can't talk about. It's like I'm not allowed to talk about things I don't know or understand. Wow.
Okay.
Fair, I tell you.
All right. I think we should get started. What do you think, Mike? Are we good?
Yeah.
You edited this rundown a little bit, right? It looks like you came in here. Thank you. Okay. This is a good.
Do you have the music?
Let's find out. Probably not.
Do you have the right overlay on?
I do.
I think the overlays. Oh.
They can hear the music. Seems like you guys cannot.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Nope.
Let me fix that real quick, and then what could that be?
So what? I'm not a rock star.
You know what? I can
smash that like button, everybody. Ring that bell. Subscribe.
All right. While I'm fixing this, they can see you, so we'll deal with that. We'll just deal with that.
That's fine. I don't think it's a giant reveal. Just a little monkey.
Oh shit!
Just a little
Sonic's
monkey.
At least I put something on. I'm a monkey ball.
Yeah, I'm ball monkey. All right. What is?
My head's hot. I'll tell you that. But
what could be this?
I'm
music.
Go. Ready?
Oh, I think I understand. I think I know it.
Beautiful. You do foley art? What's?
Yeah, you guys are welcome. Everyone's thanking me for dressing up. I dressed up last year too. Jeff doesn't got time for you guys. I do. Don't forget.
Right, give me a second.
When you need to choose whose charity to donate for when we do Extra Life, don't forget this.
Oh wow!
Wow!
The kids in my hometown matter more than Jeff's. Wow, that's terrible. I'm a monster. Is he going to get something now? What have I done?
Oh no!
No, it's just the kid just needs something. Oh, the kid wants in. Just, you gotta be quiet. Spoiler alert, she may not be. Yeah, because kids don't understand long-term rules and conditions. Turns out that kids have little caveman brains. Look at all these super chats coming in.
Hello there.
All right.
Oh, shit.
Okay. There we go. That's slightly better.
Are you from the Kick series?
I'm Darth Nerd, man. Shut up. That's me.
Oh, shit.
There you go. With something, at least. I'll take it. I'm glad we shamed you into this. The best way to get Jeff to do things.
Yep.
I was having a field day when Tinsley was complaining about having a hard time reaching you on Twitter yesterday. I was like,
yeah, I can tell this is like one of your favorite topics to talk about.
It is.
Fucking bastard.
No being able to reach yeah.
All right, Christian, get out of here.
Okay.
Thanks for your help, Christian.
Bye. Thank you for your help.
Bye,
now
bye.
Leave.
All right. All right. I am ready. Let's check the song. You should hear it now.
Hear that.
Cool.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Got a hair in my mouth. Got that. All right. I'm ready to go. Let's do this thing. Hello, Xbox era, Jesse. Okay, Mike, I'm gonna do the countdown. I'm gonna hit record, and we're gonna start. You ready?
Yes.
Okay. 5, 4, 3, Hello there, it's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this. Welcome to the Games Beat Sides podcast. This is the podcast where we decide everything about the world of games so you don't have to think for yourself. I'm your host, Jeff Grubb. With me is...
Mike Minard. I got it. Hello there. You're trying to sound like Obi-Wan.
Yeah, trying to sound... Because I'm for podcast listeners, I am in an Obi-Wan hood, the cloak that he wears. My mom made this for us when we went to go see the Phantom Menace. I've had it ever since. Yep. We didn't even see the midnight showing. We saw like the 9 a.m. showing the next day. So yeah.
I don't really remember if they were. I think they were doing some midnight showings back then, but that was before that was really.
Right.
I remember by the time Lord of the Rings was
that would
out,
have been like one of the first movies ever for it. Yes, Lord of the Rings. By the second and third Lord of the Rings, that was huge. Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay, Mike, how you doing? You ready for Halloween? All that stuff. You are a monkey.
I got my Sega sent me monkey ball stuff and included this hat with the monkey ears on it that I have not used yet, and now here we go.
I like how last week you're like, I'm going to dress up for the podcast, and you're just putting on the swag you got from Sega.
To be clear, you had nothing on at first until I came with this
yours
hat
like
and
you might as well have had nothing on. Just like, here, I'm going to wear this free stuff a company sent me for my job.
Wow. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry that my mommy didn't make it for me.
Hey, I'm sorry. I'm sorry my mommy loves me so much. I mean, what am I supposed to do about that? Mike, you got any plans for the weekend? You going to go trick-or-treating?
No, Jeff, I'm 34 years old. I'm not. My brother and some of his friends, they were pretty late trick-or-treaters.
I was
doing
too.
It.
Yes,
Senior,
shamefully, I was late. Yes.
There were a few things that to my little brother was like, I'm too old for this because I'm was a giant man child for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Shocking, I know. But when they were like trick-or-treating at 17, I was like, guys, I don't feel comfortable doing that. I'm going to stay home and help pass out candy to the children.
Yeah, me and my friends, we were suburban hooligans and no sense of what was right and wrong. So
well, you're from Detroit, so
yeah. And so I think we probably did it to like 13, 14, maybe even a little bit older.
Oh, Jeff, that's completely fine. Oh, I'm talking about my brother is are 18 and they were doing it. So I'm talking about
by the time we were 18 for sure. But I'm trying to remember, like, if I had my license, was I still trick-or-treating? And I think there's a strong chance that I was. So maybe even like 16. Yeah. Yeah,
I think I was talked into it maybe at 16, and because like a lot of my friends were still doing it because they were like, yeah, we're. I was like, this feels weird.
I will say it is weird. No one in our neighborhood ever said anything. No one even gave us like dirty looks. I don't think. If they did, we were like, so whatever, we do what we want, that we wouldn't have noticed. And if any teenager comes to my door, I have candy. I don't give a shit. Like, this is fine.
Sure, I'm not going to say anything to him.
Right,
my younger brother, who I was just making fun of for doing this, is in chat right now. Hi, Chris. But yeah, I'm going to a party tomorrow, which is going to be fun. Then Sunday, just going to pass out candy and probably like play Tales of Arise or that one game we got code for, I'm talking about. But yeah, it'll be good. I feel like I should watch something spooky, but I kind of just want to play Tales of Arise instead.
Yeah.
So I'll probably just do that. I'll probably play like Saturday night. Nah, probably not, because I'll come home from the party. I'll probably be very tired. But maybe on Halloween, I'll play a little bit of Luigi's Mansion, just kind of like for the fun of it. But I don't who knows how long I'm going to play it.
No, I get you. We were going to go trick-or-treating. That's 2 nights. Yeah, so Sunday night. So take the kids trick-or-treating. I'm looking forward to that. They both had like a little bit of a preview of that at their school. They did their little parades and got to go like do trick-or-treating with like the employees at the rec center where my one kid goes to preschool. And so they're ready for it. That'll be fun. I'm excited. This year seems to be a lot less sort of... we did a little bit last year, but everyone was like, put the candy down by the curb. No one was close or anything like that. And like a lot of houses didn't participate because of the pandemic and everything. Everyone was pretty hesitant. I don't blame anybody for that. We were like not even sure we were going to do it. This year, it's like everyone's kind of giving you the go ahead. Go out and do it and have fun. And we're just going to go have fun. So we're looking forward to that.
There you go.
Yeah. And then I might play Costume Quest. I like Costume Quest.
I never played that. At some point, maybe I will. Not this Halloween. Too late for that, but someday.
There's a lot of like great Double Fine games that I haven't played either. Like stacking. Like people always swear like stacking's really good. I'm like, I need to go back and just play all of them. I'll get around to it eventually. Sure. Today's episode, we have news and games. But first, I want to thank everybody for joining us. You can get more from Mike and me at gamesbeat.com. If you have something to share with us, email the podcast at games+podcast@venturebee.com. That's the plus sign. Thank you to Carlos Ayin, who is Insane in the Rain Music on YouTube, for the use of our theme songs. If you're listening to this on the website player widget, you can subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and more. If you like the show, rate us on Apple Podcasts because that helps people find the show. join the Discord. Link is in the description. It's discord.gg/GameMess. Thank you to our mods for all their help on both the Discord and here in chat. And you can support the show by going to patreon.com/GameMess. That gets you into like our little club for the podcast that we do. It also gets you into the secret channels inside the Discords, and you get into like podcast producers and you're able to contribute to the show and stuff like that. I mentioned, like, I always say this every week, like games+podcast@venturebeat.com. If for some reason you like want to reach out to us for something and you don't want to pay money, we get that. This option has always been there. games+podcast@venturebeat.com. So if you're tight on money and you want to reach out to us still, there's always that way to do that. Please take advantage of that. We're not trying to lock anybody out.
I am, but Jeff won't let me, but that's fine.
The whole idea behind like the Patreon and like the super chats was always like, we're getting so many questions. We got to find a way to like incentivize people to like not ask questions.
Cool and popular, right?
Exactly. Well, I mean, it's mostly Mike. I'll admit it.
For sure.
Should we get into this news?
There's a lot of news this week, man.
There's a lot. There's a lot last week too, but it feels like there's even more this week. Yeah, I think a lot of these stories, like, on certain weeks, if there was a state of play, we would spend like 20 minutes just on that. This week, we probably don't need to do that so much.
Well, it wasn't a very interesting state of play
exactly.
anyway.
That's exactly my point. I'm like, there's a lot of, and like the Facebook stuff, which we'll probably start with here. We'll talk about it a little bit, but I mean, how much is there to really say? It's still Facebook.
Weird. It's weird because there's nothing to say, and yet I feel like we could get in a rabbit hole and say a lot about it.
Yeah, and Mike, I think we can agree our audience probably doesn't care too much about that stuff, so let's try to avoid those rabbit holes.
Metaverse? You guys don't care. What? You guys don't care about the metaverse? And the metaverse is so weird to me because, like, for a while I thought I just didn't get it because what they were talking about sounded like things that already existed, and I'm like, oh, I do get it. It's just actually not really as ambitious as they seem to think it is. Or, I mean, the problem with it is that they all talk for some definitions of the metaverse, and I hate that we're talking about the metaverse, but let me just get this out.
Let's get it out.
By some definitions of the metaverse, it has to be a metaverse, and it has to be like this one big interconnected thing that's all this stuff transfers, all these purchases transfer, all these cosmetics transfer. But that's never going to happen because
not between companies. Yeah,
no, even like everyone's going to make their own metaverse.
Even the stuff that all runs on Unreal,
metaverse.
Like if everything runs on Unreal Engine, right? Even in that situation, those games and those experiences and whatever, they're not going to have that much interoperability. Those companies are still going to need to build their own tools to solve their own problems, and that's going to break other people's content. Maybe Epic finds a way to solve those problems, but even then, like if you're going to do this stuff, it's going to be a metaverse that is like self-contained, like Roblox, where all the tools are provided by one company to create all these different experiences. And to me, that seems like the kind of thing that Facebook's even talking about, and Roblox is so far ahead. I wrote about this for everybody. So I mean, we didn't even say the story. Facebook changed its name to Meta.
Everyone knows,
yeah, Facebook.com, still Facebook.com. Facebook's now Meta. You're right, everyone knows. I just read it as Meet again, which is the obvious joke. But like, so they're saying they're going to do this because like, our goals go so far beyond just like the one product that we're associated with, Facebook.com, and we see the future as this metaverse. And the way he's talking about it, he's like, there's so many unknowns here, so many problems we haven't solved yet. And he's like, but we're going to get to stuff like enabling people to create content and do their own commerce. And I'm like, that stuff is already happening in Roblox and a bunch of other places, like even like Minecraft to a certain extent, but definitely in Roblox, where it's just like the tools are available to anyone. Kids are making $10,000 a month or whatever, and sure, yeah, Roblox is exploitative, but so are all these companies. It's like, I think that goes without saying, but I'll say it anyhow. That it's just like, okay, he's just trying to take this name Meta for himself, even though it's already been established, and he thinks it's like, this is like going to help him give him a leg up, and it's weird, and they're behind.
He's excited because it is who are the most people who are excited about NFTs, blockchains, and the metaverse? It's executives, and who's the most executive out there? It's Zuckerberg, right? So, and he's excited because he thinks that he has the resources to, like I said, be the one metaverse if there is going to be one. He thinks maybe Facebook could run that, and it would be like this weird, like, imagine if there was a company that owned the internet and how rich that company would be, right? So that's what they want, but it won't be like that. It'll be like what we have now. It'll be a bunch of different smaller platforms, like a Second Life, like a Roblox, like PlayStation Home. I just don't see what makes it different or exciting. And even some of the lofty things they say, like people won't have ads or billboards, they'll just put their car in the game. of course there are also going to be billboards and all of that tack. Like maybe not right away, like in the social network, like don't put ads yet because that'll be tacky.
Right.
Well, they'll come, but even like
it's cheap, they'll do it. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Well, they'll make the money, but it's like, what exactly is the appeal here? Like, what's the problem that the metaverse is solving? Is what I don't understand. Like like every time they do one of these things, it's always you can go to a concert with your friend. Why do I need to pretend to go to a concert with my friend? How does that?
But like you can and again, that's already happening in Fortnite. It's already happening.
Already a thing.
Like these all these things. Like, yeah, you're right. Like, what problem are they solving? Oh, this problem that's already been solved. Like, what are you talking about? And a lot of, obviously, I don't like Facebook. I guess I should make that clear. My biases should be known here. I think Facebook is a problem, like, to democracies and to human interactions and stuff. And it would be less of a problem if they would take some responsibility for it. Something they obviously are never going to do. So the idea that they're going to come in and do good things in this new metaverse space is just laughable to me. I also think they're going to fail. I think they're going to fail. I don't think this is going to like the way they're talking about it now, the way that they just seem to not understand that these things. I mean, obviously, I think maybe they're playing to ignorance. Like, they know these things exist. They're just like, once we do it, that's when it's really happening. It doesn't really happen until Facebook does it. But still, the way they talk about it just makes me seem like they're not actually going to solve any of these issues that they are facing that other companies have already solved.
And
the audience is going to move on without them. They have nothing to show. You're right.
They had a cartoon to show. That was like a high concept cartoon about things that already exist in like a lot of ways anyway. So
right.
I just have no idea. And I don't know if I have much of an interest in that stuff anyways, right? People always say like this is the future of gaming. This seems to be all the stuff about gaming that I don't necessarily like or care for. This kind of weird crossover junk stuff.
And they want to bring social pressure. They want to bring social pressure into gaming more than it already is, and that means, oh yeah, like, so you're going to be able to build a physical space that other people can see. Now, is that physical space impressive? Did you spend enough money to make it impressive? Well, I don't want to be thinking about that. I go to these things to escape the social pressures I deal with day to day. Why? How could it possibly be good to bring that stuff into these spaces? Now, some people do enjoy engaging with that stuff, but I think they more like playing with those concepts in a safe space, like with The Sims, where like I'm going to have sort of infinite money, or at least the option to get infinite money, sort of play around with like what those feelings bring me, but not really actually feel those real social pressures. I just think that this is it's bound for failure, is what it feels like to me. It's people that don't actually understand people trying to build something.
They don't understand
for people.
games, because they're always like, obviously. Imagine you can buy a gun and you have like this tag says that's your gun. You could bring it to other games. Like, what does that even mean? Yeah. Am I gonna buy a rocket launcher and like bring it to the next Metroid? Like, what's like? They have no idea what game design is, or what like aesthetic like art styles are, and how you can't just make one thing for multiple. Like, again, it could be like Roblox, where it's all kind of the same thing in that infrastructure and all looks the same, but okay, that's not the grand metaverse concept that they're really trying to sell here. This is probably more time than we need to devote to it. Obviously,
we should move on.
Incredibly skeptical.
Yes, I mean, that's the short version of incredibly skeptical. And you could find out more about the metaverse on GamesBeat next week with our GamesBeat Summit, which like it's more for
we might
like
be uninvited.
We'll be talking about that and NFTs. Dean puts these together. He's very into this stuff, and we'll hear everybody out. We always hear everybody out, but we're going to remain skeptical, I think. So
that's right.
Yeah. All right. To stay on this topic a little bit, GTA San Andreas VR was announced for Oculus Quest 2, and I think that sounds like a fine idea, Mike. What do you think?
Sure, it is. It's a little weird. Like, why not just do Grand Theft Auto 5 at this point, right?
I posted a story on GamesBeat years ago that was like, oh, modders have like added VR to GTA 5, and you could even like get the like big omnidirectional treadmill and like walk around in the world and all that stuff.
I mean, the game officially has a first person mode, so that's like some work done right there.
Yep. Yeah, but whatever. San Andreas VR probably runs better on the Oculus Quest 2, right? It's a mobile chipset, so it makes sense, I guess. I only have an Oculus Quest 1, but as like Resident Evil 4 VR is out now, and if this comes out, this is kind of stuff where I'm like, okay, I've played these games before, but there is a part of me, it's like, okay, let's see what they're like in VR. People seem to really like that Resident Evil 4 VR, so I'm like, I might get around to check that. Like, the Oculus Quest 2 is relatively affordable, so I'm like, I'll probably get to a point where I'll buy it, or I'll get the next one.
Well, that's the question. I mean, they put a surprisingly large amount of work into the Resident Evil 4 for VR thing. So much that I'm like, are they really remaking this game like people think? Because it seems like they kind of just did in a way, but for VR instead. So, but that's another thing. I don't know. This probably isn't for me just because any VR experience with a lot of movement like that is just gonna get me sick. So a game where you have walk around movement and driving movement and just all the movement is gonna be a bad time for me.
Yep. Yeah, I think a lot of people would get sick, especially in a game that's being retrofitted for VR. But I don't know. I haven't heard a lot about that from Resident Evil 4, but that might be like self-selecting, right? Where people are just like, I know I can handle that stuff in VR, so I'll get it. And everyone who's like, I'll probably get sick, are just skipping it. And then Oculus Quest has been renamed to Meta Quest, which is, I think, an objectively worse name, but whatever. Because MetaQuest is like a thing already. A MetaQuest means something to me in video games, like when you are thinking about like, oh, your meta missions outside of the base gameplay, or it's like leveling up and all that stuff is what I think about when I hear MetaQuest, and now it's a VR headset, but whatever.
It's kind of surprising because, again, like they're not changing the name of Facebook itself. So it's like some of their brands are getting renamed to go with this meta thing, but some aren't. So whatever.
Yep. All right, let's move on to another delightful topic. Bobby Kotick is not just reducing his salary, reducing his compensation to $62,500 a year, the minimum that he could receive. And that means he's waiving things like bonuses and everything else. And he's asking the board of directors to do this to him. And he's saying, we're going to do this until the company meets its commitments to building a safe workplace. He put out a long letter to employees that they also shared as a press release, and included notes to investors and all that stuff. So really,
they gave into some of the demands, like no, was it arbitration?
Forced
arbitration.
Wow. Nope.
It's a hard word.
Stop saying it. Too. Stop saying no. You're messing me up. Like arbitration.
Arbitration.
Oh, you motherfucker! Stop it! I'm gonna go say it. Arbitration.
Well, anyways, you
arbitration.
Can't do that no more.
Yeah. So basically, what happened in their contracts for these employees, if they had a issue with the company would be like, okay, well, here's all. Like a mediator that we've selected that will make sure that everyone is happy with the outcome of what happens, like between everyone that was involved in this harassment or whatever. And I think just saying that out loud, you could probably already hear the problems with that. Oh, this company is bringing in a mediator that they're paying to help mediate these issues. And it's like, okay, why can't I just sue you? Or why can't I just bring in the civil justice system or the criminal justice system to solve these criminal or civil justice complaints? And well, it's against your contract. You couldn't do that. You have to go through this forced arbitration. They employees have asked them to drop this. Now they are. So you're right. They gave in to that demand. And then there were some other things where they're like, oh, we're going to spend a lot of money to raise our the percentage of women and non-binary people at our company by 50%, and we're going to commit to more pay equity, transparency, and stuff like that. But it was a long letter of saying like we're going to do the things that we should have been doing, absolutely. And they were still a little bit defiant. He's like, well, our pay equity was already pretty good. Like everyone says, like we did a study and women get paid more than men in certain jobs, stuff like that. So they're still a little bit defiant, but overall much more sort of apologetic and saying like kind of like we're just going to do what it takes. And dropping his salary is a key point, not just for like people who are criticizing him for the way that they've built a toxic work environment, but also from investors who are like, even borrowing, like throwing out that stuff, we think you get paid too much. We think you get paid too much for even what you're doing, like for the key core parts of your job. And to me, this rings like we're going to hear something about like the outlook for Activision's like next fiscal year earnings, like that are going to be pretty, I think, conservative, like even more conservative than these companies typically are, and it's going to scare some investors. And I think this is like heading that off at the pass. But that's me making assumptions. I don't know. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, I think they're bracing for something, bad newsy or at least underwhelming, because if there already is everything going on. But again, they don't have many products right now. Call of Duty Vanguard is of course going to sell well. Is it going to sell as well as maybe the last couple Call of Duties? Maybe not. It's coming out in a week. There doesn't seem to be that much excitement for it. But again, it's Call of Duty. It kind of exists in its own play now. So I'm sure it's going to do just fine. But, so much of their strategy has been about just absorbing all their smaller studios and getting rid of any like game release that isn't Call of Duty or one of the Blizzard things. And a lot of the Blizzard stuff has been first it was kind of farther off than we thought already, and then it got derailed even further from everything that's been going on. Like Diablo 4, Overwatch 2, not coming out anytime soon, so you're not getting any big releases from them. Even like a new World of Warcraft expansion is a bit away. Hearthstone's pretty much that. I mean, it's still going, but it's not what it used to be, especially in terms of bringing in revenue, I imagine. And then Overwatch 1 seems kind of like a graveyard right now, right? Remember when it was like a news story that, oh, Overwatch's Halloween event started again? No one cared this year.
Yeah.
Imagine that. So, yeah, it's got to be kind of bad news that they're getting in front of here.
Yeah, and I guess I should, like, people always point out when I wrote this story, a lot of people were like, Call of Duty's still going to sell. It makes more money than anything. And people say, oh, they have King and they make a lot of money from mobile. That makes more money than anything. And yeah, all that stuff is true. I'm just pointing to the fact that these companies have to grow to keep their investors happy. So they can't just make the same amount of money they made last year and investors will be happy. They're supposed to make more money every single year. And if that sounds unfair, well, take it up with capitalism. That's just what they expect. That's how it works, right? So, and I don't necessarily know that King is in a position where it's going to have regular growth. I'm sure it's maintaining, but it takes a lot of money to get people to play mobile games. So they've spent a lot of money acquiring users. So that stuff gets more expensive even as they make more money. So it's like it's a troublesome path that they're going to have to solve by introducing new games. King's always got new games out, but still, like they still mostly rely on Candy Crush Saga and a few others. And then when it comes to Call of Duty, is it going to make as much money as the last couple of years? Like Warzone and Call of Duty Mobile are already established. Like that was where the growth was really coming from, even as Modern Warfare was selling better than the previous years. Well, I don't think Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War sold better than Modern Warfare, but meanwhile, Warzone, Call of Duty Mobile kept growing. But now those are fully entrenched and part of their revenue expectations, and they're not going to have like suddenly a third new thing of that, like or
third Call of Duty pillar.
Third or fourth Call of Duty pillar, whatever. Maybe they break out zombies into its own thing, but at a certain point, you're looking at like really diminishing returns for that core Call of Duty product. And it doesn't seem like they have plans to do that this fiscal year. So I think their outlook is probably going to be like, hey, yeah, maybe we'll match last year's, or maybe we're going to shrink like 10%. Now they did, I think most recently, in their most recent quarter, their earnings or the revenue was down like 12% year over year. And if that trend gets worse, investors are going to be like, hey, Bobby Kotick, what are you doing here? Now, all that said, I don't care that much money if Bobby Kotick loses his job, or the investors are mad at him, or if Activision's making money. I'm glad that whatever the motivation here, if the result is a less toxic work environment, that's great. Sure. I hope they keep moving in that direction. But you know, they say they're going to promise progress reports quarterly on how they are doing with this stuff, and I hope those reports are robust and transparent, and we can keep an eye on them, you know, here in the press, and just make sure that they actually are improving their working environment. Mike, we should take a quick break because the little one just informed me that she pooped her pants, so I'm gonna go. Nice. I'm gonna go change it. We're gonna be back right after this.
Okay. Fun.
All right, so I'll put a commercial there for the podcast listeners, and you could keep the people entertained. I'll be probably like 3 or 4 minutes.
3 or 4 minutes. Oh my God, do I have enough material? Let's see. There you go. That's a little Picarding for you, as they say. Oh gosh, I'm glad I don't have to deal with poop from kids. I guess you get numb to it after a while. I feel like so many people in the gaming industry have had kids lately, and I'm over here playing my tin whistle with a goddamn monkey hat on for you people. That's what you get. I'm gonna pull up some tabs for something a little different here. What do we got? I always go to Cutie Pie. She's the one who has the best tabs. Nothing Else Matters from Metallica. I don't think I know that one. A song from Heroes of Might and Magic 4. Does that game have good music? I'm gonna tell you what, I've completely missed the whole Heroes of Might and Magic thing. I never played any of those. I'm still not actually sure what they're about. It seems like a mix of like regular RPG and RTS, but it scares me because it seems different and weird. There we go. Here's that Muppet song that I like. This is the song that Gonzo sings when he's sad. You don't read music? Sometimes I don't. For some of the songs that I know, which is just a few. Like sometimes I know songs and I forget them. There you go. Now you can feel like Gonzo when he's sad right before the last act of the Muppet movie, the original Muppet movie, the OG. I tell you what, I watched Muppets Haunted Mansion last night finally, and that was good. That was really fun. It's like we were on our third Kermit now. It's still that same guy being Gonzo after all these years. That's pretty much Mike. Nick Turbo, what do you want me to 1v1 you in? The only like 1v1 game I even play is Smash Bros. And I'll absolutely destroy you in that. You wouldn't even have a chance. Be prepared. That would be a fun recorder song. Hey Jeff, how's the poop?
Yeah, it was good. It's a real good poop. She did a good job.
That's great. That should keep her regular for a while.
Exactly. That's the goal. That's the real goal. Okay, here we go. All right. Next up, Vicarious Visions seems like it's going to lose its name as part of this process of merging into Blizzard. So, Mike, you played Diablo 2 Definitive Edition, whatever it was. Was Vicarious Visions' name at the beginning of that when you booted it up?
No, man. Now you're like resurrected. That's it. You just said the thing to me. I did to you. I was like, that's
sorry. I shouldn't have said anything. I know. I'm sorry.
No, in fact, when I did my interview for Diablo 2. And it was basically just with two people from Vicarious Visions, but I kind of like even asked them like, hey, so it's like, what's it like with the two teams? Like, oh, we're basically all Blizzard now. So this was coming.
Yep. I thought it was, I just thought like Vicarious Visions' name was dead, period. Like, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think there was maybe some ambiguity. God, there's some
ambiguity. It's all right.
Thank you.
It's Friday, man.
Words are hard.
Yeah,
but I think that's obviously what's happening, especially because it's not like they're keeping them just as a team that's going to do specific things anymore either. I think they're kind of are going to get spread out. I think a lot of those people are going to be working on or probably are working on Diablo 4 now. I think that's absolutely where a lot of these people
and that's where they should go. That's probably where they can make the biggest difference. Yes.
Yeah, so it makes sense now. They're just part of Blizzard, and it's like, in some sense, it makes sense, and it's good because Blizzard probably absolutely needed the help from a super competent developer. Like for Diablo 2, they certainly did. Just look at the difference between Diablo 2 Resurrected and Warcraft 3 Reforged, right?
I mean, it's a world of difference. Like that makes such a huge change in like what the reaction to those games. Like maybe people don't remember that Warcraft remaster was a disaster.
It was kind of like. I forget what happened first. It was that or the Hong Kong thing, but it was like even though like the Hong Kong thing should be the bigger thing, this was like in terms of perspective just about as big, right? It's just like just another chapter in the narrative that Blizzard was on a decline, and we all saw where that went. Yep. So yeah, it absolutely kind of makes sense, but it's a bummer because Vicarious Vision was this great studio that was doing really good stuff on its own, and now that's just kind of gone. It is just there to make sure Blizzard doesn't fuck up anymore, essentially.
I mean, Vicarious Vision's obviously very talented. I mean, we're giving evidence after evidence there. I just, I get it. Blizzard games should probably be like the key concern at Activision Blizzard. That said, I just wish there was another way, and that Vicarious Visions could have grown into its own thing and became its own studio, kind of not just even working on remakes, but going and making like the next Tony Hawk game. Like I think I said somewhere else, but that would be great. But whatever, I get it. This is Activision's problem. Everyone's got to be working on a few things, and none of them are really working on new things. Not really.
Right. This isn't even as egregious to me as Toys for Bob just being like we're a support studio for Call of Duty. I'm like, what?
Obviously,
did they even need that? Like there's a certain point you can only pump so much into Call of Duty and get that money.
We just said that, right? Like Call of Duty, Call of Duty Warzone, Call of Duty Mobile. There's a lot of Call of Duty work on now. That's the different games they have is just different Call of Duties now, and it's I mean, whatever. That makes them a lot of money. I get it, but to me, it just seems like an unsustainable path. Where if one of those games go bad, like Vanguard is not getting a lot of excitement. If for some reason it fizzles out, they are going to be a situation where maybe Bobby Kotick should take a salary cut. Well, hey, look what's happening.
Right.
Okay. Let's get to some Sony news. Let's start with that state of play, which was bad, right? It was just bad. It's okay to say that, right? Like, no one's gonna get mad at me. I think everyone agrees.
Yeah, we said set your expectations very low, and even then, I don't think they were low enough.
I got to a point where I'm like, yeah, I'm going to set them low because they've done these kinds of ones before where it's obvious an obligation to partners that they're fulfilling. And those partners might not always be bringing the biggest, most exciting games. But they also should have learned from those, right? And maybe they'll get a Final Fantasy 16 in there. I thought Final Fantasy 16 would show up.
I absolutely thought that's something at least one thing on that level, right? Like, yeah.
One thing, right. A pillar to hold up everything else. And then you're like, okay, I get it. They made us watch all these other trailers to watch the one trailer we would have picked like out of YouTube, and whatever, that's a good trick, but they didn't even do that, and so it just felt like a waste of time. But I don't know, I wasn't really excited about anything I saw. I think even that Little Devil Inside, which I think I might have been excited about before, it didn't look as good here for some reason, but I don't know, that's just me. Mike, what do you think?
I don't know, like the only surprise was that there's a new Star Ocean. And like I had some fun being like immediately when I saw like, JRPG anime stuff with Star Trek, I'm like, oh my God, they're making a new Star Ocean. And they are. It's like interesting, but like it's one of those
Star
things
Ocean.
Yeah, Star Ocean. Like the last Star Ocean, which came out like 5 years ago, whatever, was bad. Everyone didn't like it, right? Even looking at this, it seems to have even more anime bullshit than you might expect from a Star Ocean. Right. And it's like, they're trying to show how cool the game looks, and there's still awful frame rate issues. And I get it. It's in production. But usually for these incredible vertical slices, I'm like, it's a bad sign if even for the trailer, we can't get this game looking pretty good. But, the other problem is Star Ocean and the Tales of games have always been pretty similar in terms of being like the kind of more action RPG, JRPG things. And the last Tales of game was very good and had very good production values. So it kind of put Star Ocean in an awkward spot. We'll see. I'm trying not to be super down on it until it actually comes out. What is it? Star Ocean, the Divine Force. Yeah, again, we'll see. But it's been a long time since Star Ocean had I think some people like 3. I think P3 has fans. 2 was the last one everybody seemed to like. And that was a PlayStation 1 game, right?
So I've never played Star Ocean games, but and I was just kind of, I was aware of them. I knew what they were when I was kind of growing up and seeing them in video game magazines or whatever. And to me, they always struck me as beggars can't be choosers, where it's like these JRPG fans want as many as they can possibly get, so they'll take Star Ocean too, and there's things to like about it. We are in a time where, okay, there are some gigantic JRPGs that are still getting made, and there's some that are kind of in that between AA and AAA zone, that's where Tales of Rise feels to me. It feels like a big budget one of those JRPGs, and it's coming out, it's impressing people or whatever. And then if you want if you still want more, there are people doing traditional style JRPGs, like the Trails in the Sky stuff or whatever.
Sure, and Octopath and whatnot.
And Octopath, and so you just have so many options all along this entire the entire spectrum. Thank you. And this to me, this one's feels unnecessary unless it's very, very good. And then even then, I'm people seemed not that excited. I don't know. I guess this is me speaking from the outside as not a JRPG fan.
Sure.
So I guess what is that
I'm
worth?
a JRPG fan, but I'm not really a giant Star Ocean fan. Although Star Ocean, the one Star Ocean 2 remake that came out for PSP, that was one of the first games I reviewed. I remember. And Star Ocean 2 is good. But I don't know. I mean, again, it's I get it, a JRPG anime, but in that opening thing, it's just these sexy teenagers, not even sexy, and not even teenagers, just really young looking, to the point they look like they're 15 years old, and it's they're piloting a starship. It reminded me of that Nickelodeon show that was a Star Trek kind of not spoof, but knockoff. Do you remember that with all the kids and the spaceship? No, ringing a bell.
No, it's not. Sorry.
Which is funny because now Nickelodeon just actually has an animated Star Trek cartoon show. Somebody in chat movie. No, everyone in chat is too young. They're not going to know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and I feel I might just be a little bit too old. I think it's it must have been right in your zone and not mine, because I don't remember that.
This was a show though, where basically there's just Star Trek but with kids, and it was on Nickelodeon. That's what it reminded me of, except they're taking it dead seriously. So we'll see. But yeah, again, that's like almost the most interesting thing they showed at this. It did just feel like space cases. I think that's right. Thank you, Dookie. Space cases.
The name sounds familiar, and it's one that I think my little brother was excited about. So there we go. Yeah.
The one crew member had like an imaginary friend that she talked to all the time, and everybody thought she was crazy. And then like after like season 1, she was on the show anymore, so her imaginary friend became real and was the new cast member. That's what I remember.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's a move. That's a move. All right. Here's the thing I'll say about this state of play, and then we'll move on. We've heard from the beginning of this generation, even like a little bit before, like Sony is spending so much money to get like third-party exclusives, and almost none of the games in this showcase, I'm not sure if any of them are fully exclusive or even really timed exclusives. I think Little Devil Inside was supposed to be, maybe it's not anymore. If I look on Wikipedia, it says it's coming to PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, and Windows, followed by Xbox One and Nintendo Switch at a later date. But other places are like, no, it's coming day and date. So, but overall, like the point here is that how do you do a state of play and not show off all that stuff that you're doing? If you're spending that much money, like why are we not seeing the examples of, why aren't we seeing evidence of that on the screen? And again, it just makes this feel a little bit like a waste of time, where it's like, okay, these are just trailers I could have watched on YouTube. Why are you bringing all of our attention to this thing? And there didn't seem to be very good reasons. So, but hey, all that said, that last state of play was really good. The one before this one.
Yes.
And so a bad one happens. So what? I'm not like that bothered by it.
People are going to forget about this very quickly once we have a good one again, or once
the next one probably will have Final Fantasy, and and then and I'll never think about this one again. Yes, agreed. Okay, other Sony news: God of War PC port is going to be made by Jetpack Interactive, so they got another studio kind of helping them out with that stuff. Even though they just acquired Nixies to help with that stuff, I think it seems like they've got a lot of partners working on these games to make sure they get these PC ports out pretty quickly. People brought this up, and it is kind of curious, the timing on the announcements of these things. Like, they announced the Uncharted 4 is coming to PC, and they said it's coming like 2022, and then they announced God of War after that, and then it said it's coming before Uncharted. It does seem to me like the pacing of these announcements and these releases is picking up. How many PlayStation like big name games do you think are going to come to PC in 2022 by the end of the year? Because we're going to get 2 in the first. Yeah, it seems like we're going to get at least like 5, 6, maybe 7.
Right. Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of catch up happening this year. I mean, we know that Sackboy is probably coming. That seemed to be leaked from a database at some point. I forget, Ghost of Tsushima, that's on a PC already? I can't remember which ones already were. So that
but I bet Ghost of Tsushima by the end of next year could end up on PC, maybe early 2023.
I bet even like the last big one they announced next year will be Last of Us Part 2 coming to PC. That might happen like holiday, right? Yep. That could be a thing.
Totally. Speaking of games coming to PC, not Returnal yet. Sackboy: A Big Adventure got listed on Steam database, right. SteamDB.
That's what I was saying.
Makes a lot of sense, right? Yeah.
I mean, that was a game that seemed pretty overlooked at that launch too. Yeah. Probably because like everybody got Astrobot for free, and it was better. I think Sackboy was fun. It was a little simpler than it needed to be. I feel like they kind of underestimated. Like they're like, we're making a 3D platformer for kids. Well, kids like Mario, and the Mario 3D platformers are actually pretty complicated. Kids like Roblox, I don't even really understand Roblox. So
yeah, exactly. Good point.
I think Sackboys looks really good. It has a lot of charm, and its fundamentals are good. Its level design is just a little too simple, but absolutely put that onto PC and get more people playing it.
Yeah, it's the thing about Sackboy is I wish they would do even more to make, like, if they're gonna make it simple, make it even more simple. Like make kind of put like almost bumper rails on where the character moves, so like they can't fall off the side or whatever, or at least they have to try to fall off the side really hard if they want to. So I can have my 4-year-old play. She liked Sackboy because it was so simple and she was like beating levels and stuff. Mm-hmm. But like the next level would get way more complicated. Not for me. It still felt basic as basic could be.
Like a 3 or 4-year-old.
Right. It's like now I have to like handle like 2 things at once, and I'm 4 and I can't do that. Sure. So I'm like, maybe put a little bit more guardrails in there to help her finish the game. I think that'd be great. Returnal got is getting its big update. I'm not sure if it's out yet. Basically,
go back to your favorite game.
Yeah. Hey, I like that game. It's a good game, and I will play it again.
Like it more than I do, to be honest. I basically tried it once and bounced off immediately. Yeah. So, and you're the one who gets all the crap for it. I probably dislike it significantly more than you.
Well, you should be loud about that, please. Everyone, get him.
No,
get him.
No.
So it's getting a suspend cycle and a photo mode. Basically, suspend just means that you can save and quit and then come back to it.
They don't middle of a run.
Save in the middle of a run. Now, if your game crashes, which mine crashed like 8 times during my review period, but if it crashes, you're still going to lose that. But if you save and quit, and then the system updates or whatever, you're not going to, and like shuts down and like restarts and all that stuff. Previously, if you just like shut down the PS5 and went into suspend mode, you could come back and play it, but if it restarted because of an update or whatever, you would lose your spot in that game and have to start over. So now they are like, no, now you could save and quit, leave, and not have to worry about any of that stuff. And for people who are busy or people who like play online games with their friends, like you're in a Returnal run and you get to the point where it's like, oh, I'm really deep in this run, but my friends want me to come on and play Warzone with them or whatever, and I don't want to abandon this run, and I don't want to have to make this choice. Well, now you don't have to make the choice. You could just save and quit, go play with them, then come back and continue in your game. Because again, if you were to start up another game, you would lose that suspend point, because it's not like Xbox where you can get like 5 suspend points or whatever.
Yeah, I get the idea. It's Returnal 2.0. Man, we got a lot of news still to go. Let's move.
Ben Studios is hiring for a new IP. Okay. I mean, we knew they were working on a new IP.
We knew they weren't making a sequel to Days Gone, even though they wanted to, so sure.
Little Devil Inside, which we mentioned was at the State of Play, doesn't have a date. I guess that was kind of weird that like that was like their big anchor for the show, and there was no date for it.
Yeah, it was weird. But people have been asking about that game specifically a lot on Grubb Snacks, right?
Yes, they have.
Well, there they go.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, I think this is like a sign that, hey, they definitely want people to remember this game, but it's not ready. Oh, that's right. And Sony had their financial report, best Q2 ever, I think, for PlayStation. 3.3 million PS5 shipped in Q2, and that puts it to 13.4 lifetime. And when it comes to PlayStation 5s, shipped is going to mean sold, because every single one of those is going to sell immediately. So 13.4 million PlayStation 5 sold so far. 47.2 million PlayStation Plus subscribers, which I think was up 1 million. I think the thing not mentioned here is that monthly active users was down compared to last year, but I think that's not surprising, because I mean, how do you count monthly active users for PSN? People who like use Netflix or whatever, and the pandemic would have pushed all those numbers up. So
yeah, I'm going to give all the credit to Ratchet and Clank for this, just because our chat was mean to Ratchet and Clank last week.
I think you are 100% right. Yeah. Sony renamed its PlayStation Mobile label to PlayStation PC LLC. It was weird to see PlayStation PC. Yep, that's gonna. Yeah. I mean, they probably make a lot of money from those games, and they're probably going to make even more as they bring stuff like Uncharted and Last of Us and all this other stuff to
Imagine if it's like they ported a game to PC and it did well and they made more. Imagine if Atlas and Sega, after they put Persona 4 Golden, were like, we should put the other ones on I'll tell you what, consoles.
Even though they've already put Persona 3 Golden on there, whatever it was, and it did Persona 4 Golden and it did well, they're probably still like, I'm not sure. I don't know.
Surveys out the people.
Yeah. Oh my God.
How is Persona 3 not on Steam yet?
Mike, we don't have time to talk about how bad Atlas and Sega are at this right now, so let's keep going. We'll make a special episode just for that.
Just for that.
For Xbox news, they showed that Halo Infinite campaign. I named this episode on YouTube, at least. Is it okay to get excited about the Halo Infinite campaign? And for me, I'm like, what I mean by that is, we didn't know anything about this campaign really until we saw what little they've shown so far, and I am getting excited. But do you think that's warranted? What do you think? How much were you paying attention to that? To this?
Yeah, I watched it. I think it looks good. Again, neither of us are giant Halo people.
Correct.
I think, even though as much as we kind of decry the Far Cry-fication of open world games,
yes,
I think adding a little bit to that to Halo can make it interesting, especially because Halos themselves can make for a cool open world. And I like the fact that
you're talking about like the physical Halos.
The physical Halo.
Yeah.
I'm glad that it takes place on one of those again. And because again, I still think of Halo 1 when I think of Halo, and I like just looking at the skybox and seeing that wraparound ring. I hope that this probably isn't that game. At some point, I want the game where you can literally like just fly to the various points of the Halo ring in real time.
Agreed.
Right?
That's got to be coming at some point in the future. That idea is so cool.
Yeah, and that'll be like 10 years from now. But in the meantime, this is something. But it'll be better than Far Cry because you don't have to do that. Like, there's a lot of like, it's going to be a map filled with enemy bases. And you even saw that. But at least it's not like in Far Cry. It's like, all right, go and like kind of sneak and go into like cliff and like targets.
Right. It's going to be Halo shooting which owns.
Which is
It's still fun. Yeah.
So you just go in there and you cause mayhem and destruction. So I'm slightly hopeful. I am like a little worried just how often they're gonna like stop things for the story, and it seems like because again, I don't really care that much about the Halo story, and a lot of this was about that. And of course, it's the campaign. I'm just a little like, okay, sure, Cortana, something, all their holograms, something. It's fine. Just let me go blow stuff up. Really.
Yeah, you basically said exactly how I'm feeling, and I think that the sandbox gameplay that we get from Halo's multiplayer, if they lean into that for this campaign, and even kind of like, and this is where I was like, maybe it could be a little bit like Breath of the Wild, because the physics system in Halo is so mature and complicated and sophisticated. I mean, I think there's a chance, like the way that they like plopped that ship down in front of you, and it just sort of like crunched under the ground really heavily. Like it felt very Halo, but it also felt like we're just letting the physics do what they're going to do in this game. Now you go out and figure out a way through this stuff. It's not going to be it's not going to have a chemistry system like Breath of the Wild. You're not going to be able to like start a fire and have it link over there, whatever, and all that stuff.
Leading it, like even back in Halo 1, like people were like using the grenades and warthogs to like skip over giant sections of the map. You mean they almost like lean into that a little bit,
exactly,
and encourage it. Yeah.
Yes. So I hope that's what they've done here, or at least I hope they built the foundation for that stuff and can elaborate on it through updates at the very least. Right. Let's see. I don't know what this means, Mike. Dashboard streaming is back for insiders.
They're talking about this a bit. The built-in Twitch streaming stuff, right?
Oh, right. Yes, thank you. So if you bring up the Xbox, I forget what they call it, but the Xbox menu and hit the Xbox button, you can now link that to Twitch and stream to Twitch from your Xbox right through the dashboard instead of having you use the Twitch app. And they're testing this for insiders, so my understanding is it's still a bit buggy, but that's good. I'm glad that they're bringing that back. People should have easier ways to stream from these consoles, and that's good. That's nice. Microsoft reported its earnings. Gaming revenue was up 16%. Xbox content and services was basically kind of flat with that 2%. It was up 2%, but that was because it was a tough comparison to last year due to I think a lot of live service games were making a lot more money during that pandemic period. So that period of the pandemic, excuse me. But hardware up 116%, obviously because now we have the Xbox Series X and S, and those also cost more money. So that's helping. Project Belfry, this is something I talked about on Grubb Snacks. This is another Microsoft code name that they're working on, and I didn't say who's making it. I'm still going to kind of like be a little bit cagey about that, but we'll describe it with the game.
Tell me, message me. Who is it?
Okay, yeah. I mean,
I need to know right now.
Let me see. How can I message you? I guess I could do it through Slack.
Yeah, if you, how can you message me? Do you not just have Slack open constantly?
I would have it open, but my second monitor is broken, so I have to have like all four corners are filled up right now. And if I bring up
nice.
Slack, okay, and what did they make? They made okay. Well, I almost said both things. All right.
Okay, Jeff. What if? Now, I'm not saying that. Okay, Jez already told everybody, Jeff. Everybody in chat is saying what it is.
Oh, okay. It's stoic. Damn it.
I was about to say, everyone started saying things. I was like, if this is what Jeff just texted me, okay, well, they made Banner Saga, and that looks like a really good game. So, and you said this is going to have like a Ghibli-ish style. So
yes,
that makes sense.
I would say like specifically Princess Mononoke, and nice. it's a side scroller like Dragon's Crown. What's that one? That one that has like the big breasted witch lady.
I tell you what, if it's not Dragon's Crown, it's something like that because that's all I'm thinking now. Yeah, maybe let's say Odin Sphere instead. Though.
Odin Sphere, yes, yeah. So it's like Odin Sphere, but there is like base building elements where as you go across this huge world map and you go into the levels on the world map, you are going to bring back resources back to your bell tower, which is what a belfry is basically, and you're going to build out that stuff, and that's going to enable you to make more weapons and you like utensils, whatever, and then you go back out into the world, and now you could push even further out into the world map is kind of how I understand it. But I hear it looks incredible visually, and I think it's and it's very different from other stuff that Microsoft is working on. And so I think to me it was like interesting to hear that this is another project that they're approving, and it's so much not like an open world RPG that I think people are like, is that all they're going to approve or whatever? Is that all they're ever going to deal with? And it's like, okay, clearly they are looking for other stuff between this and that Wu-Tang action RPG, which is not an open world RPG. It's Wu-Tang, right? Of course. I should have made that the name of the episode last week. But yeah, between that stuff, they are looking for other opportunities to mix up what they're going to be bringing to Game Pass, and this is another.
Well, this certainly sounds like my kind of jam, so I'm gonna look out.
And then I guess a little preview on the next Grubb Snacks. I will be talking about that's Josh Sawyer. I think it's Josh Sawyer game on Grubb Snacks next week. So if people are curious about that, remind me.
Saving all your good stuff for Grubb Snacks. Okay.
Hey man, damn right. And then Microsoft acquires 2hat to improve content filtration and protection. So Mike, no more penises for you, or no more sending penises to everybody. I don't know which one you want. For the podcast listeners, he ripped off his monkey hat and threw it on the ground in a blind rage. All right, Nintendo news. Mario Party includes a warning on how to avoid irritation to your skin in mini games, because if you try to put it like that, the analog stick in your palm and like move it around very fast, they're like, you'll get blisters or something.
Backwards. Yeah, you're weak if you can't spin the analog stick with your palm and destroy your skin.
Play through the pain.
Means you're a coward.
Yeah.
You don't deserve to win.
These Ginzers, I swear to God, Mike, they're Ginzers.
Yeah, they don't understand. You have to break your controller, you have to destroy your hand, and lose anyways, and that's how it just goes.
Permanent injuries are just the price you have to pay to compete in Mario Party. Yeah, that's funny. And then GTA, Nintendo is publishing that GTA game for the Switch, and it requires downloads. We still don't know exactly how that's going to break down, but here's my guess, Mike. GTA 3 is on the card, and none of the other games are, and you have to download them.
That sounds almost certainly correct.
Nintendo Switch Online, the Nintendo 64 emulation does have quite a few problems. Mike, I kind of feel like, yeah, they have problems. I think here's the best way to avoid those problems. Don't buy this. Just don't pay the $50.
Yeah, but at the same point, I was like an advocate for that, and then I immediately bought it. So I think,
No, I know. Yeah, me too.
We all suck, but we all suck. We are going to buy it. Nintendo is just going to get away with it, and it is frustrating. Yes. I say get away with it, but I'm letting them get away with it. So we're all bad. Shame on all of us, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I just feel like, a major hypocrite whenever I'm like, okay, now what can we do about this? Well, we shouldn't have bought it in the first place. Too late. I already did. Right. I hope they make improvements. I think they will. We could try to get a little bit loud about this. I think I've seen a ton of videos on YouTube and stories everywhere where like the N64 emulation is unacceptable, and it is. Yeah, at a certain point, it can get loud enough that Nintendo cares. It has to get pretty loud though for Nintendo.
I hope. And then Nintendo released Pikmin Bloom, which I've been playing actually this week. So you know, why don't we just save that for the I've been playing section, and I'll talk a little bit about that.
Okay.
Well, there's still a lot of news. Let's
there's still a lot. That's why I said.
Let's be picky here. Let me see. Saber Interactive publishes a Quiet Place video game in 2022. Mike, neither of us are spooky movie fans, so I doubt you've seen A Quiet Place. I haven't.
No, absolutely not. Yeah, did people not care about the second one? Did that come out last year?
I think it did, and I think it probably did fine. I guess I don't know. I don't actually know the answer to that question, Mike. So I was just guessing.
Yeah, this is interesting. So talk about Blizzard again. They just canceled the BlizzCon Online that they were going to do like in February, and they basically said they're going to reimagine what BlizzCon can be. I wonder if they're just taking an out here, because I don't think anybody really wants to do a BlizzCon for a while right now. I mean,
like when they don't have a lot of new games to announce, what is it about? It's about community, and that community is broken right now. It's broken,
right, exactly.
Fundamentally.
So much of BlizzCon was, you go back and you watch the keynotes, it's them coming out like saying, we love you and we're all one big family, and that illusion's broken, right?
Yes.
And maybe, I don't know, maybe you could build that back up again. I think we're kind of moving beyond that, and I think in some ways it is healthy, but in some ways it is a little sad, because BlizzCon was a lot of fun, even if it was sort of built on this lie. It was a good time. I'm glad I got to go to a few of them, but at least for the foreseeable future, I don't see how it could possibly exist, at least how it used to be. And if it comes back, it'll almost certainly probably be something like a Nintendo Direct, and it'll have a new name, and that's what they mean by reimagining it. It's not going to be a conference or a party, at least anytime soon.
Yeah, you're right. Let's see, Back 4 Blood reached 6 million players in 2 weeks. That game is on Game Pass, but even with being on Game Pass, that's a pretty impressive number, because you hear other games, they're like, we're at like 3 to 5 million. 6 million seems like I don't know. So it seems like Game Pass effect is growing, and that game is the right kind of game for that sort of environment where if you have people playing on Game Pass and you just want to go play with them, you end up getting that, and it's another game to play. Yeah, that network effect at work. Let's see. Stadia is still doing stuff. They added State Share, Stream Connect, Crowd Play, Crowd Choice for 20 plus games.
Features,
yes, this is stuff that they announced at like GDC years ago or whatever it was. But
right.
was it even years ago? Was it like 2 years ago now? Like
it feels so long ago, Jeff.
Yes, it does, and it's like it might only be 2 years at the most. Weird. Let's see. Samsung is working on cloud gaming. Yeah, go ahead and read that one.
Samsung's working on cloud gaming.
Yeah.
Who cares? Activision is going to lower the storage of its next Call of Duty with a new texture streaming tech, which should save about 30 to 50% storage. That is something because it was starting to really get out of hand, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it got out of hand years ago.
I wonder how that tech's going to work though, because like anything that uses it, like Unreal Engine has figured that stuff out now, and like its texture streaming stuff is really well done. But for a while there, it was always leading to situations. I remember in PUBG, and PUBG was a mess for a while. But like you'd come in, and the houses would be these weird blobs of textures, and it would take a long time for that stuff to stream in, and sometimes the game would break and it wouldn't work at all. But yeah, we'll see. Maybe this is a good thing, but I think there's a chance it could come in broken. So Motherboard finds out with a forensic lab and a dude who investigates war crimes that Timothy Chalamet had a YouTube channel where he made custom Xbox 360 controllers. Timothy Chalamet is an actor. He's in that new Dune. He's the main actor in that new Dune.
Okay, I was so happy because I was like, "Who is Timothy Chalamet?" So
He also basically said this out loud himself, but even having done that, Motherboard still like did all this weird investigation stuff, and I love it. That story is so much fun. I don't care that he admitted it. It's a fun story.
Hey, so Final Fantasy V Pixel Remaster, it's coming out on November 10th for Steam and mobile. Of all the ones, this is probably one of the better ones to get, because unlike 6, which pixels were already perfect, 5 had some kind of uglier overworld pixels anyways. They did a thing that 4 did where they were like different ones, and when you got to the battle they were the full size ones. So hey, also Final Fantasy V is just fantastic and very good, and you can fix the horrible font issue at least with a little bit of back end work there. So that one might be one of the better ones to check out as far as the pixel remastered goes.
Do we talk about WB's multiverses last week? I feel like all that stuff happened between this week and last week.
It did. The one like a picture of the roster leaks. So
exactly.
It's a lot of people. Steven Universe
WB,
is there, though. I'm excited.
Yeah, Steven Universe is there. WB, and then WB claimed that stuff on YouTube as like a copyright thing. So it's like basically confirming that it's real.
You not protest too much, right?
Exactly. So it's it's the platform finder. It's the Smash clone with WB characters, and the roster is pretty limited so far, but they're probably going to add a lot of stuff over time if the game succeeds at all. Resident Evil Village has shipped more than 5 million copies, and that's faster than 7 did that. So not too surprising. That game seemed to have a lot of buzz and a lot of momentum, so that's pretty good.
And yet it does also feel like a long time ago that came out already, huh? Like, it certainly doesn't seem like people are bringing it up for Game of the Year talk right now.
I agree, and I think there's some people who are like, why are people forgetting about this? But I think when I did a tweet this week where it's, hey, what would you be sad if they got left out of Game of the Year talk in any category? And Resident Evil Village came up sometimes, but not nearly as much as stuff like Death's Door or even like Hitman 3. People were like, I got so many messages about Hitman 3, and I was surprised and very heartened by that. And Hitman 3 came out in January, so before Resident Evil Village. So I mean, this is just me like taking the temperature of some replies to a tweet. And maybe people think Resident Evil Village won't get forgotten, but to me, it does feel like it's kind of getting a little bit left behind. Tales of Arise sold 1.5 million copies. That seems very good for that series, right, Mike?
It does. The best-selling one is Tales of Symphonia, has sold 2.4 million. That came on the GameCube a long time ago, and it's had re-releases, and it's been on sales. This is going to become the best-selling Tales of game eventually. Yes, so that's good. And
then today, Krafton, who is the PUBG company, basically, they acquired Unknown Worlds, which is the developer of Subnautica. And then also today, Skydance Media, and basically Amy Hennig's studio at Skydance is going to work on a Marvel game. So
yeah,
from Star Wars to Marvel, hopefully she gets to finish this one.
Yeah, hopefully she gets to finish this one. So there was one thing here about Assassin's Creed Valhalla generating the second most profit for Ubisoft ever. More DLC is coming next year. I just think this is interesting because we had Ubisoft's earnings yesterday or the day before, and it was fine. It basically met their target, but nothing spectacular. But it's weird because it's they go on about how great Valhalla did and how great that Odyssey did before that, and yet this is a series that is about to be reimagined quite extensively, at least in terms of this how they release it, because we're getting Assassin's Creed Infinity, which is going to be a service game. It's not free to play, they say, but it is just going to be this thing that you have, and they'll just keep making content for that. I still just find it weird that they're doing that when it seems like the current model of just making a new game every 2 or 3 years seems to be working very well. I just find it a little confusing.
I agree, and it seems like a risk, but maybe it's something that's hey, this is actually somehow less risky, and we just don't know it yet. All right, Mike. Yep. Well, let's call the news there. And
it has a lot of news.
It was a lot of news, and we're gonna have a lot of questions and super chats. Mike, do you want to start with the super chats?
I absolutely do, Jeff. Nothing would make me happier. Our first one here from Kung Fu Hot Dog. It says, "Happy Friday, my bearded warriors. I want to buy Guardians of the Galaxy on Steam, but would have to pay an extra $10 for outfit unlocks and soundtrack. Should I just wait until they are free? Rest in peace, Craig from Halo Infinite." So you have to. Well, if you really want that stuff, I don't know, Jeff. What do you think?
I don't know. I wish I understood exactly what that meant, because I got a code, and so I'm sure it included that stuff.
I kind of hate. So I kind of hate when they send me these codes that includes this stuff. So
me too.
When I started Tales of Arise, it was the special super edition, right? And when you start the game, you can claim all this stuff.
Yeah.
It included a thing that just permanently increased how much experience I get, and just permanently.
That's the worst. That's the worst example right there.
It gave me spells. It gave me swords. I literally had to reload in order to say I don't want any of that.
Yeah, because you're not only is it going to change the experience, trivialize it, but it's it makes your experience so different than anyone else who doesn't buy that, which is going to be the majority of people. It invalidates the review almost, and that's the point. I think a lot of times, honestly.
Now, that's a bit different than what he's talking about here.
Yes.
Look, if you want the soundtrack and stuff, I don't know when that stuff's going to be free, so I would just either pay for it or just don't get it. Yeah,
listen, I don't know how you listen to music, but if you are if you have YouTube Music, or if you get Apple Music or whatever, just stream that. That playlist, a community member will make that playlist, and you can just go listen to it. You don't need to own the soundtrack on Steam. And you also will find so many cool costumes in that game. Half the fun is finding those costumes because they're pretty well hidden. It's a really linear game, so anytime you are doing the labyrinth thing where you're putting your hand on the wall trying to find the cracks in the wall so you can find the secrets, that almost always results in you finding something cool, and I really enjoyed that part of the game. So just buy the base version. Or if you feel like you can wait, that game's probably going to go on sale relatively soon. Maybe go ahead and wait for it, but I don't know. I wouldn't wait because you want that stuff.
Jeff, this reminds me that AJ, my other brother, wanted me to yell at you for insulting Guardians of the Galaxy soundtrack and calling it kind of B tier behind the movies. He says it's very good. And they told me that there's an Iron Maiden song in it, so I have to side with them, I'm afraid.
No, I get it. If it really clicks with you,
that's my favorite Iron Maiden song, to be honest. They did more Eagles
that's what I'm
there,
saying.
Which is kind of not one. Yeah, even though the Avengers game had Flight of Vicarious, which was better. I think they made that deal at the same time, by the way, to get Iron Maiden.
Almost certainly. My point was not necessarily that the quality of the music is worse. It's not necessarily. It's that the use of the soundtrack in the movies is multifaceted, and here in the game, it's just pop music is playing. Isn't that cool? And yeah, it's cool. It's great. And I hope people enjoy it. I enjoyed it a lot of the time. But it's not as meaningful as it is in the movies, where it is elucidating feelings of the characters and telling us what's happening in the world.
Don't you famously say that you have no taste in music anyways?
I don't think, I think I don't, I don't devote any brain space to music when I'm not listening to it. When I'm listening to it, I enjoy it and like it, and I try to engage with it on that level. But as soon as the music stops playing, I turn my brain off from music, because what good is that? Because then you might end up in a conversation with someone about music, and I can't think of a worse conversation to have, because it's so objective that I don't care if you don't like some song I like. It's just meaningless to me. So yeah.
Fair. Afro Ahmed asks, is the Wind Waker HD Switch port real? Release date? ? Jeff, I believe it's yes and I don't know, but what do you say?
Yes, and I don't know.
you think we're going to hear about this thing soon? You think that this is going to kind of come out before Breath of the Wild 2 as a kind of a
I think if Breath of the Wild 2 gets delayed to 2023, it'll come out before 100%. But okay. I don't know.
After Ahmed also asks, is Nintendo not taking Death's Door pre-orders because Sony's pre-order comes with Titan Souls and Nintendo's doesn't? Is Nintendo that petty?
I don't understand. What's the question?
Is Nintendo not taking Death's Door pre-orders? So apparently they're not taking pre-orders for Death's Doors. And are they doing that because Sony's pre-order comes with Titan Souls and Nintendo's doesn't? Is Nintendo that petty?
I mean, to me, that doesn't sound like Nintendo being petty. It sounds like...
I don't think that's Nintendo's choice, right?
Yeah, it doesn't sound like Nintendo's choice. I don't think Nintendo would care about that. But I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I don't care about that.
But yeah. Alejandro Molina says, hey, Mike, I got into Metroidvanias with Ori, been playing lots of Dead Cells, but I can't for some reason get into Hollow Knight. What am I doing wrong? Well, assuming you're not trolling me, I don't know. Oh, so my one brother was saying the same thing, and he just I was like, just play it for like more than an hour and like push through a little bit, and he did, and he's into it now. Jeff, have you finally gotten into it? Have you been playing anymore? Or did you give up again?
I'm still no, I'm not. I have not given up. I did play a little bit more. I haven't gotten very much further into it because I'm like, okay, I want to beat Guardians of the Galaxy first.
Okay,
so,
fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just keep playing. At a certain point, sure. If you're not feeling it after like a few hours, then it probably just isn't for you.
I think you got to get. I think I want to. I still haven't gotten like the first upgrade. So once I do that, then I'm like, I'll decide then if I'm into it because I bet that'll change things.
Oh, sorry, Jeff, but I will say like some people don't buy some of the map upgrades that you can pretty early. That like first off show you a map and then show you where you are on the map. And buying those, I think, will help you a lot if you haven't yet.
I did do that, and that has actually changed things for me. So yes, I agree.
Supernova says, "What's up, Jeff plus Mike and everyone here? Things are up. Things are good. Thank you.
Yeah, we're doing good."
Jeremy G says, "Uwu." So Uwu, back to you. George D says, "Boys, Halo getting a battle royale or nah?"
I mean, listen, I think that it's got to get Forge first. It'll get Forge, and I think if the community starts making a cool battle royale, I think there's a chance that 343 will adopt that. But they're going to get Forge out first, and then once Forge is out, that will empower the community to make all kinds of crazy stuff, and that will lead to whatever like the next new mode will be in Halo. For right now, they just need to deliver the Halo multiplayer experience that they've already shown us and let people play that for free for a few months, and that'll be fine. And they need to deliver on a campaign that is not rotten. If they do that, then they'll have a pathway to do whatever they want. And if that's a battle royale, great. I just don't think there's going to be one in the first 3 months. No way.
Again, imagine if you can do a battle royale in like a kind of miniaturized Halo ring, right? Like
I think that is a wonderful idea.
Pushed kind of towards, be fun. But again, maybe not this time yet. Kung Fu Hot Dogs says, I could see Mike uses a Blue Yeti. Yes, I do. What about you, Jeff? Is that a HyperX microphone? It looks damn sexy. Happy Halloween.
I have a HyperX microphone somewhere. I actually did a review for the most recent one that has like the RGB lighting, and it's very good. This is an XLR mic that's going into a Go XLR. It's an Audio Technica AT 2020. It's like one of their more affordable XLR mics that while still retaining that really good Audio Technica sound quality. So I've been very happy with it. I really like it. If I were to use a USB mic, it would be the Blue Yeti X, the one that supports the blue voice modulation stuff. It does like real-time processing. That stuff is really well done, and I've done a review for that as well. I've done a lot of mic reviews, and I have a SoundCloud with a bunch of tests on there. So if anybody's interested in like what's a good mic, go check that out. There's even a couple of headsets on there with pretty good mics that I would recommend even. So yeah, check out that playlist. It's just like search SoundCloud Jeff Grubb or maybe Jeffrey Grubb.
Wiener Beat the Side says, when is Jeff going to release his first Metroid Dread speedrun time? I don't think Jeff is. I think Jeff isn't up to it.
Listen, I feel the pressure, and I feel the I do feel like I'm being a failure by not competing. I just got into some review games that I'm like, I feel obligated to finish and stuff.
It is a rough time. And look, it's like, it is going to suck when you like do it and you try and then you like don't beat my time. It's like, well, that was 3 hours wasted instead of, trying to do that 2-minute thing. Look, I'm teasing Jeff a lot about this. He doesn't need to beat my record. Because all that's going to happen once he does. Yeah. Once he does, then I'm just going to like actually start looking up some more of like the actual
oh god, the rabbit hole there is so scary. Yes.
Right. Like right now, the only thing I really do is the early grapple beam, which is like one of the intended skips, but there are like some more that are like, there's a lot of things where you kind of make those exploding block things, you kind of hit them through the wall by clipping your character, and that's how a lot of things are done. And I don't really want to start doing that stuff, but like I will if it means like my honor's at stake against Jeff, you know?
Right, that's the problem. Is we would if that's what it came down to, and I don't want it to come down to that. I don't know. We'll see. I'll probably try at least once, and we'll see if this nightmare really kicks off for real. Real quick in chat. Hello, Jeff. Hello, I Minotti. I like that from Canoodle.
I Minotti sounds a bit. It reads like AJ Minotti, like AJ Minotti, so it confuses me.
I saw that too, but I'm like, oh, I get it now. I.
Yes, the monkey from Monkey Ball. Ismael Espinoza asks, any game you stand behind that received bad in quotation marks reviews, and for whatever reason, a buddy of mine will go to the grave saying that Operation Raccoon City was great. Again, I don't know if you call it bad, but I think that PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale was a lot of fun, and it just got like mid 70s or low 70s is like a Metacritic. That's one I kind of go to a lot.
I've got two. One is less bad than the other. The less bad one, obviously, is Fallout 4, which people like don't even say it's bad. They're just like, it's not what I wanted from Fallout, or it's too much of the same, which I still stand by. And then the other one is Assassin's Creed Unity, which I gave a 92 out of 100, and still really like. I like that game a lot. I know it had a lot of bugs, but I just didn't see any of them. I did not have any bugs while playing that game.
My favorite, probably like actual trash game, was that Star Trek game they based off the newest movies. That was like just a cheap Gears of War knockoff, and you played as Spock and Kirk, and it was like stupid and ridiculous. But playing it with my brother, it was a lot of fun. It was stupid, but I liked it. Alexander Dark 91 says, "Hi Jeff, have you heard anything about that Xbox partnership with a third party that Millie mentioned? I've seen people mention Bungie and Ubisoft as maybes."
Oh, I mean, Ubisoft games are probably coming to Game Pass in a more serious way, but I don't know if that's what Millie was talking about. I don't know. And I think that this is something that maybe she only has heard so far, so we'll see. But I'm sorry, I have no more insight into that. I'll ask around a little bit, but I'm also kind of like, I've been doing a lot on Microsoft right now, and I'm going to be doing more next week, and I kind of don't want to make them too mad, so we'll see.
Space Dovakin asks, "Hey guys, any idea if that Marvel Skydance game is going to be multi-plat or exclusive? Is Sony going to gobble this one up too?"
I think if it was going to be, we would have heard it when they announced it. But so my guess is it's probably multi-plat. But who knows? That could change. But I think if it was Sony gobbling this up, they would have done so already.
What do you think characters is going to focus on? I saw someone in chat say Captain Marvel. That could make some sense. I feel like it could. Just because I associate quipping with Amy Hennig, I could see this being like a Fantastic Four thing. Although that might be very similar to Guardians of the Galaxy now, huh?
Yeah, but I think you find a way to I think you can make it different. Like the Fantastic Four and Guardians of the Galaxy are different. You just accentuate those differences and make it work. But yeah, you're right. I'm like trying to think of like like the problem is I'm thinking of the Quippers, and it's like Spider-Man and Wolverine. Well, we're already getting Spider-Man and Wolverine games, right? So
maybe they'll do a new Deadpool game. That's another one. I liked that Deadpool game that like most people thought was mediocre. I thought that was fun.
I thought that was fine too.
I am a little. I know we've gotten like the Iron Man VR thing. We got, and Iron Man was like a big part of that Avengers game. I am still a little surprised we haven't got like the Iron Man game. Yeah, right?
To me, you're right. That actually is the most like Nathan Drake, and I guess maybe we are pigeonholing Amy Hennig here a little bit. So maybe she'll go beyond that. But just that's what matches in my brain. So yeah, I'm gonna say Iron Man, Mike.
Okay, that makes sense. Jalen says it's Jeff's fault that Nintendo 64 emulation is bad. He requests games on Twitter. If he just did not send Nintendo his money, this would all have been better. Yeah, I agree. Everything is Jeff's fault.
Yeah, that's fair. I get it, man. Just put Wave Race on there. I'll keep requesting games, even if it's bad. I'm like, just put Wave Race on there. I'll be happy.
Jalen also adds that great show, guys. People are weird on Twitter, and they sure are.
Yep, no problem. Thank you.
Space Dovakin has another one here. Says, sounds like they're using SFS on Xbox and PC. What is SFS? I tell you guys, you get us in trouble with these acronyms. You think we're smarter than we are. I don't know what the hell SFS is. SFS.
Spam for spam. Shout out for shout out. I don't think we're gonna get it, Mike. I don't think Google's gonna be too much help here.
I think we're going to need help from chat, or from Jalen specifically here.
Yeah.
We'll keep an eye out for that.
No, Space Dovahkiin.
Space Dovahkiin, sorry. Jalen's was the last one. My bad. Yeah, we'll get some help here. I don't know what SFS is. Kyrie,
sampler feedback streaming. Okay, and that must be talking about.
I'll tell you what, I would have never have known. You maybe know what that means, but I don't even know what that means.
I think it's referring to that what we were saying about the Call of Duty and the bringing in the textures and stuff like that.
RDNA2 feature. Okay.
Yes, yeah, and that makes sense. But the thing, I mean, it makes sense to a certain extent, except for Call of Duty is going to be cross-gen for quite some time. So we'll see, maybe.
Kyrie Williams says, is the Metroid Prime 1 game rumored a remake or remaster, and is it coming out in 2022?
Hang on, I'm trying to see the question myself so I can. It's in full production now. Is it Indiana Jones? Is that what we're talking about? No. I'm sorry. I was reading the next question here. Oh, it's Metroid Prime 1.
Questions for you.
I'm sorry. I was trying to look up sampler feedback. It's Metroid Prime 1 Grand. It's sorry.
You just asked me to repeat the question for you.
It's
lied.
between.
You thought you could get away with it.
I thought I could, but I never do. No. I thought it was between remake and remaster. If that's how we talked about it before, and I think that's probably where we're gonna have to just stand. And I'm sorry, that's not a satisfying answer.
Yeah,
but I think it's the reality
on either front there. But hey,
yeah, I think it's a reality, and yeah, it's coming in 2022.
God, this person's not your wife, Jeff. You don't have to leave them so unsatisfied.
Wow. Cool. Happy Halloween to you too, Mike. Absolutely.
And on that note, you guys, Hero Select says you guys are awesome, and Jeff is right about Red Dead Redemption. That's why I said this, because I just thought about having to hear Jeff talk about Red Dead Redemption not respecting players or some bullshit again, and I just got filled with rage. Oh God.
I mean, what
do you?
Is that what? Okay. I'm sorry. I forgot it's one of your favorite games of all time.
It's
or whatever.
I know. But you're nuts.
I'm right. I am right. Game. It's not. It's a bad. Listen, it's an expensive, polished game, and I get that people can get into it and move past the things that I have issue with. I just think that and it's fine, you can like this game, but if other companies try to do this, they will all fail. It'll be a waste of time and resources, and it would suck. It would be bad for gaming.
All right, I'll give you the last word just so we can move on, because I know how Red Dead Redemption 2 apparently ruined your life. It's been rough for you. Supernova, hey, here's that question that you thought you were answering earlier. Is the Indiana Jones game in full production now? Will it be a cinematic action game like Uncharted? Well, it's not going to be a turn-based RPG. I think we could say that with some certainty. Right? That'd be kind of awesome. It's like you and Sala.
Now you're like, yeah, I'm like thinking about that. That'd be fantastic.
Literally, like it would be like this game that just was a ripoff of Final Fantasy X for some reason. We'll just do that with Indiana Jones. I'll be into that.
Yeah, it'll be probably a lot like Uncharted, I think. I don't know for sure, but I mean, this is the company that made those Wolfenstein games that have a lot of big cinematic moments, a lot of great storytelling. They will lean into that stuff, and yes, it's in full production now.
All right, Jeff, there's enough people in chat that are taking your side with it, and it's fine. Do you want to do the poll? Is Red Dead Redemption 2 bad or good?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I don't expect to win this one, but yeah. Okay.
I think you might. I don't know. Like, there are a lot of people who have, again, I don't
bad or good. Is that how we want to phrase it?
Sure, you could say overrated, underrated if you want to. I don't know, though. Last time we said just bad or good for Ratchet and Clank, and we basically got the result we wanted, I feel like, which was we won, but also not nearly as much as we should have.
I'm just going to say it's Red Dead Redemption 2 a disappointment. Is that okay? Or is that not strong enough?
I think you should just say good or bad. I think you should just say good or bad. Let's see. Because again, people know what that means. Like, I know some people are like, well, I think it's good, but I don't really like it. You're allowed to say bad if that's how you really feel about it. Our last, I don't know if you can multitask here, Jeff.
Yeah, I'm listening now. I'm sending it. Thank you for asking.
Jalen001 says, when are we getting the Ballin' book report, Jeff? Yeah, wasn't your cutoff the end of October?
I don't know, fucking know. Yeah. It is, here, this might surprise you. It's really boring. So I you know what? I'll at least read another chapter, and I might come in with an unfinished book report. But yeah, I'll do one. It'll come in soon. It has been every time I try to read it, I almost fall asleep. So that's an issue. Okay,
yeah, that's good though. Good help with that. That was the last super chat for now, Jeff. Do you want to? We can do some community questions. If you guys have any more questions, you can send them in the super chats. We'll get to them before the end of the show. I promise you.
I absolutely have here questions from the community on Discord. They went to discord.gg/game mess and followed some links there to be able to ask some questions. Let's start here with Delta Prime 84. I was just looking at the Epic Store listing for Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1+2. It has been over a year since it was released on Epic, and yet it hasn't come to Steam or Battle.net. Do you know what's going on here? Is it because Vicarious Visions has been all hands on deck for Diablo 2, or maybe Activision is holding it until the shitstorm around the company has died down? To me, this just says that they didn't have people that could like just do the work to move it to Steam and Battle.net really quickly.
You really call it Battle.net? It's Battle.net.
I think I say Battle.net. I think I always said Battle.net.
Well, I think you say it wrong. But
okay. Hey, this one, not going to argue with you. You were probably right. I'm sure I say it wrong. But but here's the thing. For some reason, I thought you were a Battle.net person. I thought you were someone who's
I'm Battle.net. Just Battle.net. Now, what about the Game.com? Was it the Game.com or the Gamecom?
It was definitely the Game.com. 100%. That I will argue with you about if you say Gamecom. No way. Game.com.
Fair enough.
All right. From Nick Turbo, I hear this conversation pop up every year, so I wanted your take. Does the Video Game Awards having so many trailers and other advertising degrade its status as an award show? Okay, listen. You can't degrade its status as an award show. It's just... It's all made up. Like all awards are just made up. It's just people. He woke up one day and was like, I'm going to give out some awards. There is no authority given by God to say this is
we help pick the winners on this one. There's some authority there.
There's some authority there because we help. And as someone who helps, I will say definitively that they mean nothing. The stuff it's all just meaningless, especially because it's not even like I think the ones that do have some authority, in my opinion, and this is again all made up still, are the ones that are voted by people who make games. And it's the same thing. Like the Oscars have authority because it's people who make films. Yeah, so DICE, the AIAS Awards, the Academy of Interactive Arts and Sciences. The people who vote on that stuff, I think that's some authority. When it's just some schmucks at a website, to me, it's all just like it's an excuse to get to those trailers. So. Maybe I think from the outside it looks like it degrades the stuff, but there is nothing to degrade. It's meaningless.
Plus, look, video games are so different from movies, anyways, in that it's impossible to play every notable video game in any given year. Like for movies, you could do that. You could watch every movie of notes that comes out in a year as a film critic. You just really can't do that.
If you could watch a movie a day for an entire year, or average a movie a day, and that's more than 300 movies, right? And that's more than enough. There's no one's playing 300 games, not really, to completion at least.
But look, it's fun to have the trailers anyways. I bet the Oscars could use some of that. I bet they wish.
I bet within 5 years the Oscars are going to look exactly like the Game Awards. I bet it's going to look exactly.
Come watch the Oscars for the exclusive trailer to Eternals 2, stuff like that. Yeah, like basically what they do at the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, exactly. All right, Fresh asks if Nintendo wanted to pick up Mercury's Steam. Excuse me. Would their live service game Space Lords, which I think is still active, be a hindrance to that? No, I don't think anything would.
I'll tell you what, I don't know what that game is. I feel like they would just be like, you guys are going to probably finish that thing up.
Wind that down, right?
Wind that down.
But if there's like other contracts, outstanding contracts they would have, Nintendo would just like make sure they could either buy them out or let them see that stuff through.
That's what Microsoft did with Bethesda. They just saw,
and it hasn't been a problem. Not really, right? It hasn't been a problem. From Gigamir, can you further explain the technical differences between why the Switch OLED is capable of 4K video output? Is this a feature that could be unlocked later via firmware? I don't know if the Switch OLED itself is capable of 4K video. I think it's the dock that's capable of 4K video, and that's because it uses HDMI 2.0 instead of HDMI 1.4. And so really, if you were to plug in a 4K capable HDMI 2.0 Switch into that dock, it could do 4K video because of that. The whole link is complete into your TV. That's my understanding of it at least. So I wouldn't say the Switch OLED is actually capable of 4K.
Jeff, it's identical in chat. Asked if I can play a Lord of the Rings theme, and I can. Can I show him?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
I'm sorry that I squeaked that one there a little bit, but there you go. His little Hobbit action for you. Jeff, you're putting your cloak back on?
Yeah, I would be a Hobbit. Now I'm a Hobbit. Now I'm dressed up as Frodo.
Yeah, look at that. Well, you kind of look like Strider, right?
Strider, yes, there we go, yeah.
That's a move when Strider's like in the corner of that bar with his one candle and his pipe and a beer. I'm like, that kind of looks cozy as fuck.
Yes, 100%. I totally have those same vibes from that, where I'm like, this is the best part of the movie. That looks so awesome. I want to be there with him right now, just doing that. Yep, absolutely. All right, Delta Prime 84. The only 2 Wii U games that I want for the Switch, but Nintendo hasn't ported yet, are Twilight Princess HD and Wind Waker HD. Have you heard anything about those 2 games getting ported to Switch so I could send my Wii U to hell, aka my storage shed? Yes. Yeah, they're going to come eventually. Nintendo likes money, everybody. It's going to happen. Don't worry. Those games make so much sense for the Switch. It's just going to happen. But yeah, we've heard it's coming. Just a little bit. Wait a little bit. From Fresh, Red Dead Redemption 2 or Pikmin Bloom?
Oh, God.
It's a tough one, everybody. Tough one.
These 2 games have absolutely nothing in common. Just pick Pikmin Bloom and laugh and we'll move on.
Pikmin Bloom.
All right. Wow, we did it.
From Fresh, is Project Belfry a single-player game, or does it have co-op like Dragon's Crown did? I don't know for sure, but my guess there would be it does have co-op. My guess would be like they would probably focus on making a cooperative beat-em-up sort of experience, and I think that'd be pretty cool. And you know, to that same man, that Wu-Tang game I think is also cooperative. Turbo Sean, happy Friday. Jeff grubbed by the Ghoulies and Mike Minotti Mayor on Elm Street. Pretty good. It's spooky time, y'all. Do you guys have any Halloween gaming traditions? Personally, I do group playthroughs of campy horror games with friends. The past few years have been Until Dawn, but this year we're doing what we couldn't last Halloween and beating Night Trap. That sounds like fun.
That's fun. Yeah, I don't really have any traditions. Like I said, I want to play a little bit. As you just mentioned, what's weird is that I love Castlevania, but somehow I don't really associate that with Halloween at all. I don't know, like even though it has freaking Dracula in it and stuff, right? And like all those monsters, I still don't get like Halloween vibes from it for whatever. To me, it's so gaming that I can't like. It's not like it's Halloween night. I'm like, I gotta play Castlevania this year. I probably will. I'll probably play some Bloodlines on the Sega Genesis thing, but yeah. What about you, Jeff?
I've talked about this. Luigi's Mansion 3 and Costume Quest and stuff like that. But I think I'm trying to like force myself to be like, Castlevania is spooky. I should just do that.
Yeah, right. We should just play more Castlevania.
Yeah. And then Ghouls and Ghosts, but mostly just for the soundtrack, because it's so it sounds like such a like a Halloween like sort of like organ playing in the background. I like that. Let's see. Turbo Sean follows up. Bonus question: what is your favorite Halloween candy, and why is it the pumpkin-shaped Reese's? Also, where do you guys fall on the ever controversial candy corn? Candy corn's not controversial. It just sucks. Period.
It sucks.
And there's some people who like it who are weird.
Are bad. Yeah. I'm not a big candy guy in general. I'm not even a big chocolate guy, but I like Kit Kats. Kit Kats at Halloween are fun.
Yeah, I like. There's a trend for not just pumpkin-shaped, but like pumpkin pie flavored candy and stuff. There's a pumpkin pie Twinkie right now that I really like, but and there's a pumpkin pie Kit Kat that I've been enjoying. But overall, I just like the Reese's cups. Just give me a Reese's cup and it'll be fine. Another one from Fresh here. Why do you think Sony and NeoStream are getting a pass for the Little Devil Inside situation? That game was kickstarted under the auspices of being multi-platform on day one. Only later it was revealed to be timed exclusive, so people who paid for the game on other platforms got blindsided. Is this not shitty? Now, I will say that I would bet that even though the game is, I don't know for sure. Again, we talked about this earlier. Maybe it's coming day one to everything. Maybe it's not. That could be changing, but whatever. I think if you pre-ordered it or if you kickstarted it on those other platforms, I bet you get a code on day one. I bet it's like ready to go on day one, and then it just doesn't come onto the stores until later if that's how it's going to break down. Because there was like similar stuff with like Psychonauts, and that's kind of how they did it. I guess Psychonauts got sold on the other platforms at the same time, so not exactly the same. Delta Prime 84, I am really enjoying Guardians of the Galaxy. It's so great to have a AAA linear narrative game. I really want to see more games like this from people other than Sony. So other than Sony, do you know of any other AAA linear narrative games in development, and who is making them? No, but I bet that Amy Hennig game is going to be pretty similar.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, and I think I guess, do we count that as linear? But Jedi Fallen Order 2 and stuff will be coming.
Yeah, I mean, it's relatively linear.
It's a Metroidvania, but whatever. Yeah, it's still close enough. I don't know. There's a reason that a lot of companies don't make this. I think Square Enix is probably not going to do another one of these after this, but hopefully it sells well enough that they change their mind.
I'm surprised how much people seem to be liking it. So maybe something will happen here.
It's a mix of low expectations, and also it's solid it's going for what it's going for, and it's succeeding at that specifically. And I'm just kind of happy that it exists.
Look, if you had all bought more copies of Crash Bandicoot 4, maybe Toys for Bob wouldn't have become a Call of Duty support studio, and we'd be getting more linear games. But here we are.
Mike, did you buy it?
Oh, well, no, I'm a reviewer. I'm an influencer. I got it.
So whose fault is this? Is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, come on. No,
I'm just saying these entitled games journalists, Mike.
No. I gave that game that was before. I think it was 95. I think it was before we did the 5. No, I gave it a 5 out of 5.
Trust me. Yes, you sold more copies of that game than anyone who bought it for $60, whatever it was.
Game ruled. You all stuck.
From Jake Bogdanoff, have you guys played Riders Republic? Is it anything to get excited about? Steep wasn't my jam, and the attitude seems a bit odd, but I want to believe. Rachel's playing for this right now, and Rachel's probably busy working, but if she's still in chat, you can ask her about it. I am going to probably play some of it this weekend. I'm interested, but I do not have an answer to your question.
It's not really super on my radar. It's more of a Jeff thing than a Mike thing anyways. I'll see what you say. I'll see what people say.
I'll come back and talk about it with you guys next week, and we'll see. I have it on Epic and a few other places, I think. Jedi Moss 4, given the supply issues and high demand for the new consoles, do you think Sony and Microsoft regret not charging more for the new consoles? Yes.
I saw somebody say that it's almost like a fault of theirs for not selling it at a higher price. And I guess I kind of get that, but it's also
that's just how it works. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It is interesting. Yeah. I mean, you do wonder man, how much could they have gotten away with really? Right. Yeah. $700. Would that have been fine? It might have been. People might have paid it.
Yeah, and I think $600. I don't even know if that would have made that much of a dent in how much they were selling. They would probably still sell at the exact same rate. I think even at $600. So it's at that point also though, then why not just take that money for themselves and instead of letting scalpers get it, which is the point that Jedi Moss brought up in his question later. Let's see. Low Rule. Do you think the Steam Deck will have features that will try to stop emulation? Absolutely not. It will not even make any effort to stop emulation. It is just a PC, and no, it's gonna be an emulation machine. Period. Epic Open World saw on Twitter that IGN's Brian Altano was talking about his Xbox controller having drift issue, and my controller is now doing the same. I've also heard on podcasts and seen online PS5 controllers are having the same issue, and of course Nintendo's issues with this are well documented. Is it just me, or do these companies care more about the fancy bells and whistles? Then you could take that. She's trying to get the Wiimote from me. Go ahead, take that. They care about more the bell and whistles than making sure the controller is just a good fucking video game controller. I think.
Don't swear in front of your kid. Wow.
I mean, God, she's worse than me. Listen, I think that you kind of nailed it here, where it's about features, and features sell things, and as long as it works for the first 30 days, if thing breaks a year later instead of 5 years later or 20 years later, they're still going to sell just as many. In fact, they might sell more because people are going to end up buying more because they're breaking more frequently. And so when you are what's the incentive structure here? The incentive structure is to focus on those features, make sure people care about those bells and whistles so that they are willing to pay more money up front for these things, and then just make sure that you get past that warranty. Right? I mean, it's kind of transparent, I think, to me. And if that means if that enables you to get away with using cheap analog sticks, which they all use, basically they all use the same basic cheap analog sticks. This is just kind of the world we live in, and it's not great. It sucks. I wish there was companies that really focused specifically on the highest quality components and doing that stuff right. But even then, I don't think I think 8-bit DOE is kind of using the same stuff as well. So yeah, it's just the way it is.
I wonder what the quality of those analog sticks in the Steam Deck are like.
Yeah, right. And it's I hope they're really high quality, but I bet they're just kind of the same thing.
It's fine to say they were in that spec breakdown when they were.
You're right,
because they were saying something about how high quality were. I think because people know about Joy-Con drift and stuff.
I think you're right. Good point. Yeah. From Nintendo Bro, happy Friday, Jeff and Mike. I was just wondering if either of you had a chance yet to pre-order a set of Wu-Tongs from Bed Bath & Beyond. I heard you even get a 50% off the order if you use the code word Hamilton at checkout.
Thomas, that was a real nice declaration. Welcome to the present.
Okay.
We're running
Delta
a real
Prime
nation.
84 says Yves Gumalt said he would bring Ubisoft games back to Steam if the Steam Deck is big enough. And then he said, do you have any idea if that's actually going to happen? I actually like the Uplay launcher, so for me, I'm not sure what I'd do if they come back to Steam. Hey, here's the thing: you can probably install the Uplay launcher on your Steam Deck. So I guess that's not what you're asking.
Right? Anyway, so
yeah, I mean, the Uplay. Yeah, you're right. They'll do both. You can still use the Uplay launcher if you want. You don't have to abandon it. They'll sell them games. Sell their games themselves forever, probably. All right, got about 10 more. Let's get through these. Sir Drew, happy Friday, Jeff. Please stop being weird about my job on Twitter. Grubb and Mike has good opinions about Fast and Furious Supercharged Minotti.
Thank you.
What is that? The cartoon?
No. So there's a ride at Universal Studios.
Oh, okay.
Orlando. It is much derived. People do not like it because it's real stupid and kind of like kind of dumb looking, which to me is a perfect ride for the Fast and the Furious franchise. So I'm into it. I think it is like you basically go through a tunnel with a wraparound screen and you're on like a party truck and it's like turns into a simulator and there's like a screen around you and like the Fast and Furious people on cars racing next to you with really bad CG. Like at one part, Don like grabs into a helicopter, like by like, the little like landing part. And the perspective is just completely off. Dom's like twice the size of the helicopter. It's
that
fantastic.
sounds great to me. Actually, that sounds fantastic.
Oh, it's the room of theme park rides.
Okay, yeah, I definitely want to try that. All right, Sir Drew, here's their question. I finally got my grubby little mitts on a copy of Metroid Dread. Wow. And I'm in Metroidvania heaven, but recent remakes and demakes have me craving more. If you could turn any game or franchise into a Metroidvania style game, what would it be?
Oh, I still wish that they would do Mega Man more hardcore like a Metroidvania. They had those ZX games and they kind of were. The second one even more so than the first one, but I still feel like that concept wasn't fully established. Honestly, like I'd rather, and I would like to see it like straight up Mega Man X instead of their kind of weird, slightly newer thing that's like Mega Man X, but kind of isn't. So that's my cheap, easy answer. Maybe I'll think of something better while Jeff gives us his.
Let's see. Sir Drew had some recommendations like Resident Evil 4, Witcher, Cyberpunk. He said they could all work in that style. To me, I think kind of anything can work. I feel like if Jedi Fallen Order didn't exist, I would say like a Star Wars game in that world. But I mean, that was a Metroidvania, and it's fantastic because of it.
We've had Kirby Metroidvanias,
right? I think just about anything could work. I'm like struggling to think of like a specific example.
I mean, it's an obvious one, but I think if you're going to make a new 2D Mario game, I think making it kind of like a Metroidvania would be kind of interesting. We even saw some people make Mario Maker levels that were kind of like that, and they were really neat.
But I think even if like you want to leave Mario to be a Mario game, you could take like Wario and like Wario style and do that and stuff.
Were any of the Wario games kind of? No, and I guess not really.
No,
they were
not
like
really.
They were kind of like some non-linear elements, but not full on Metroidvania. So I think Wario, even Luigi, right? If you didn't want to straight up be like Mario's in a Metroidvania, isn't that a little weird? You can make it with Luigi, or even Peach. You can make another Peach game. Heck, give Daisy a game. Why not?
Yeah. From Louis Patelli, happy Halloween, fellas. I saw that this morning that Marvel and Skydance New Media announced a new AAA narrative-driven action-adventure game. Any idea what it might be? We talked about this a little bit. We do not have any idea. We had some guesses. Me and for me at least, I think Mike too. We're gonna settle on Iron Man. It's gonna be Iron Man.
Yeah, Iron Man seems like a safe, reasonable. It's like there should be a really fun Iron Man game. Like I remember Sega made the license game for the original movie, right? And we all wanted it to be really good, and it's fine.
Yeah, when I go back and like when I go back to like play like old like superhero games, I'm like, oh yeah, that exists, and I'm like, I always try it again. I'm like, Sega.
So Matt Athias just said Rocket Knight as a Metroid game would be amazing, and yes, God, please bring back Rocket Knight. Somebody, it was a Konami doing a thing like a contest for their older IP. Maybe one of these amazing Metroidvania indie devs are going to be like, here's our pitch for a Rocket Knight in Metroidvania, and so maybe they'll win their stupid contest and get to make that game. That's my dream now. Thank you, Matt Athias.
Yeah, that my real answer then is Boogerman. Make a Boogerman Castlevania game. I was on that MinMax trivia show, and I'd already got an answer right, and then they came up with one of the questions, and the answer was Boogerman, and I had it right away, and I was so frustrated that I couldn't just shout it out. I'm like, Boogerman, I know Boogerman. All right, Nick Turbo, will the Steam Deck be able to run Crysis? Yeah, I bet it'll run Crysis just fine.
Crysis, remastered or the original?
Well, the original, even that remaster, I bet it'll be able to handle it okay. It's probably going to be 30 frames per second though. Louis Patelli with another one. It's been a bit since AC Infinity was announced by Ubisoft. Was it announced?
Yeah. That was announced. It was not a leaked thing. They just said like this is what the future of Assassin's Creed is going to be. That's why the whole thing seems so weird to me, because again, it was like about like maybe like 6 months to a year after Valhalla came out and seemed to do really well. And it's like, yeah, we're rethinking the entire distribution model for this series. Okay.
As a big fan of the series, I was genuinely excited by the news. Are there any new updates or rumors floating around out there about it yet? How's it going to work or anything? By the way, Smarties are the best Halloween candy. Well, that's just wrong.
They talked about this a little bit on their investor call a couple of days ago, and what we learned is it's not going to be free to play. And the whole reason they're doing this really is so that they can just get those 2 studios that alternate just to work on the same thing now. So it's going to be regular large content drops with probably some smaller ones in between. And that's the idea. And some of those large content drops will be things like, here's like a campaign that's set in Central America, and here's one that's set in Japan. That's the idea and the promise anyways. We'll see how it looks.
Epic Open World asks, it seems it is written in the contracts with Giant Bomb that you have to play Mario Party with Dan Record once you're part of the family. Voidburger will be doing that tonight along with Bacalar and Abby. Jeff, how have you gotten out of this? And if you don't do it, does it void your contract with Giant Bomb?
Oh, they don't have him yet. He's still mine for now. He's doing them a little fave, but
right. Yes, Voidburger got on full time with them. That's the difference. So I'm safe. I'm safe. Yeah, Mike, keep me safe from Dan Reichert, please. Honestly, you're enough. You're enough of a mess of a human being, and I don't even have to deal with Dan Reichert too. I shouldn't have to. Really, that's what it is. They understood. They looked at Mike Minotti and they're like, "We get it. We don't want you to have to interact with Dan Reichert too."
People keep asking you to get me involved, but I don't know. I don't know if Giant Bomb can afford me still.
Yep.
Or know who I am.
I've mentioned you before.
No, thanks.
I'm like, keep him away from me. From Jake Bog.
Do they have a retro show anymore?
They have like the old game show that they do sometime. It was on their survey, so I told them to bring it back. We'll see.
Who could host that?
From Jake Bogdanoff, what the hell happened to Prince of Persia? Wasn't it supposed to come out like 9 months ago? Did they blow it all up to do more? They just said that they confirmed they were still making it, right?
So a while ago they said, after it was shown and people were disappointed in how it looked, rightfully so, it looked a little cheap. Or budgetly constrained. They said, look, we're restarting development on this. They were upfront about that, and I think at that point we knew it wasn't going to reach that original window. And just this week they released a letter, kind of ahead of earnings, actually saying, "Hey, like this game is not canceled. We know we've been saying anything about it in a while. We've just been working on it. We'll have something to show eventually." So full steam ahead. I'm excited to see what that does look like now, because Sands of Time is a game I would be interested to play again. And I think they realize that the bar has been set pretty high for remakes these days, and you kind of can't do what they were going to do. You have to go a lot further now.
From Schaefer's...
So Nick, real quick, Nick Turbo says, I feel bad for that Prince of Persia team. It's a little bit of an embarrassing situation, but they can very easily turn that around when the new thing they show them looks good.
Yeah, exactly. And it's obviously they were put in that position by Ubisoft limiting their budget and then saying, we can't do this. It
wasn't their fault.
Yeah. From Schaefer, Zuckerberg just gave a big presentation about his shitty metaverse, and it's maybe the most cringe thing I've ever seen. I'm a person that works in VR, and I've never felt more embarrassed or ashamed of it than now. Has there ever been a point where a games journalist made you want to just crawl away and hide in shame? And if so, how did you get past it? I'm sure there are, but I don't like harbor these examples in my brain, so I can't.
I'm not going to like call anybody out or anything, really.
Yeah, and I'm sure I've done things that have made people. You know what? We can talk about. Dean did some boneheaded thing about protecting. Not protecting, but like giving whatchamacallit, the other side of the story. Which one?
Quantic Dream.
Yeah, for Quantic Dream. Thank you,
David Cage. I remember.
Yeah, and it's like I'm like, Dean, they could defend themselves. They don't need you to come in and like do this stuff. And we talked about it. And I don't like that story, but he did. Everything was like journalistically and ethically okay, but I'm like, I don't want to be carrying water for them. So, but that's like just a disagreement about the way to approach the job, and not necessarily one where I need to go like hide my head in the ground or anything like that.
Right.
But there are other examples of that sort of thing elsewhere, but we're not going to call out anyone.
What have I ever done that made you mad?
Well, you exist.
Fair enough. That'll do it.
From Benji Bop, happy Friday, Jeff. We're not perverts, Grubb, and Mike, all about panties, Minotti.
Wow.
Do you think Halo has enough uniqueness or creativity to avoid the generic Ubisoft open world complaints? A lot of people were quick to point out on the surface level, it looks like Far Cry with beacons to open a part of the map and then shut down enemy camps. But I would hope 343 has seen enough of those games and know not to fall into that trap. I think that we talked about this a little bit, but my feeling right now is the problems with Far Cry are not necessarily that open world
structure.
Yes, the problems are just the tone and going for the same, like it's the structure with the same exact wrapper every time. There is a weird, crazy bad guy who's going to get up in the camera in first person and overact at you, and you're going to burn down a field of drugs with fire every single time while pop music plays. That's the issue with Far Cry. That's why people harbor some critiques against that game. If you take a lot of that structure and apply it to a different gunplay and a different environment, and I don't know, to me that seems exciting more than anything else. So. Like, if the next Far Cry game was more like Halo, there would be like those complaints would go away. Maybe there'd be other complaints, but yeah. From Nick Turbo, would we see Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3+4 or Underground 1+2 first? Probably nothing. Probably none of that shit.
Nothing. Vicarious Visions is Blizzard now. What other studio would make it? It's not Toys for Bob's working on a Call of Duty,
right? And if what other studio are they going? They acquired a new studio. Activision did. Guess what they're working on? Call of Duty. Like they're making another Call of Duty mobile thing. That's their interest. Even if they were to bring a new studio work on Tony Hawk, they'd probably stop that halfway through and be like, okay, now you need to help with Call of Duty.
And it sucks because, man, that Tony Hawk's 1+2 remake was fantastic. Absolutely loved it.
This week I was playing it. It's still so good.
It was so good, and I would the good thing is that 3 pretty much still works fine the day it came out. Like I can still play that version very easily, but I still would have liked to have seen the remake version of it. And same thing with 4. I haven't played 4 as much, but I bet I could go back to 4 and still have a very good time, or a Thug. But the big thing was, I wish that they were just like Vicarious Visions. You can make a new one now, or Toys for Bob. You can do what you did before and kind of work off of that to make the new Tony Hawk game. But nope, not happening. I mean, did 1+2 sell not well enough, or is it just?
I think it sold well.
I think it's just them being like, well, this isn't Call of Duty numbers, so why don't we just worry about Call of Duty? And Diablo 4 could be the biggest selling game ever. Maybe. Why don't we just worry about that? Because we have a payment structure in line for that. That's going to make us a ton of money.
Yep. From Wildfire Alex, will Ubisoft actually release the Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake next year, or is this one looking like it will take a while longer?
It could take a while longer.
Yeah,
I was going to say about release date. I don't think so.
Cool.
I mean, if it's next year, it'll be like fallish, and they'll probably already. Well, what will the fall game being next year? I can't remember what's in the line. It could be Avatar. It could be something else. I'll tell you what, it's not going to be a priority in terms of release schedule, right? So I could see them just pushing it to 2023.
Sorry, I needed to look up a name of a game for this next question. It is from Cole Knapp. Is there a good Muppets game? And there is. Muppets Monster Adventure for the PlayStation 1 is actually still really good to this day. It is, I think you kind of play as Kermit. I think you play as a bunch of different Muppets, but you can take on powers of different monsters and like walk around like as a spider and stuff like that. And it's like this cool little Zelda-like environment puzzle game. And it's really fun to play. My kids really like watching me play. So yeah, I recommend it.
I remember I had a NES Muppets game that was not good, but I would play it anyways because I liked the Muppets.
Yeah, I was definitely that way with a lot of Muppets games. All right, let's see here. From Low Rule, if I do not know a ton about PC gaming, well, I have trouble getting different games to work on the Steam Deck. I could see having trouble getting the controller to work efficiently for games not on Steam. Do you think this is an issue, or do you believe the Steam Deck will be user-friendly? So it sounds like you aren't familiar with like the current state of PC gaming with Steam, and controllers just aren't really a problem anymore.
Even make profiles that you can just kind of source and download, right? And
not just that, Steam is extremely good at just making sure those profiles just work, and you could just set it up so it's your default, so that if a game doesn't support controller, then you would just naturally get one of those profiles and you could just pick up and start playing. And they're going to only improve that with something like the Steam Deck. Now, I would imagine that if you are someone who hasn't been playing a lot of PC gaming, the first game you're probably not going to pick up is going to be like Civilization or Age of Empires 4. You're probably still looking to play controller-based games. And if a game supports controller, it just works. It just works straight up. So you're going to have no issues there. That should not be a reason to hold you back. Steam, it's one of the big issues with Epic Game Store is you get a game on there and it's not exactly optimized for your controller or your controller specifically, and people are like, this sucks. So what people do is they set it up so that when you open up Steam, you can launch other programs through Steam, and you just launch the Epic version of that game through Steam, and then it puts the wrapper over on top so you can use your controller in that game. And so that's how good Steam is right now for that sort of stuff.
Hey, Big Fresh 37 just mentioned in chat that The Quiet Man is $3 on PSN right now. Do we need to buy that, Jeff?
Fuck yeah, for our extra life. Yeah, I think we are. Shit. Okay.
Although, is that game even on PC? I don't even know.
I don't.
How much can that game possibly be on Steam right now?
I wonder if it's got to be on Steam because it's Square Enix, right? So, if it's not, then we'll do Left Alive. We'll do Left Alive instead. That one's really bad. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Nick Turbo, Mike, 1v1 in Smash. Butterfingers are the best candy bar.
I've never been a big Butterfingers fan. Like, okay, I mean, I'll beat you.
You're just like, all right, I'll beat you up, no problem. Yeah. All right, and then finally from Sosuke. Hey, Jeff and Mike, what is your favorite flavor of cheesecake? Also, big news, I'm engaged. I expect both of you at the wedding. Congratulations. I will send my my body double for sure.
Better be an open bar.
Yeah, if there's an open bar, let us know. We'll see what we can do. Favorite flavor cheesecake, Mike? I don't know. I usually just eat whatever cheesecake people put in front of me. It's not something that I normally would order.
Well, I don't like fruits. I don't like when it's like there's some shitty cherry thing. I like it either plain. I like cinnamon. I like
you
cinnamon
mean cherries?
Flavor.
You're like shitty cherry thing. Just cherries is what you mean.
Or like a cherry sauce is what I meant, sure. Jeff. Yes.
Okay.
I'm also not a big chocolate fan, so I don't like when it's always like chocolate cheesecake with a chocolate topping with chocolate sauce. Like, how much chocolate do you assholes need?
A lot. I need a lot, and I am an asshole for sure.
At Disney World, one of the restaurants, I think it was Narcoossee's at the Grand Floridian, had an almond crusted cheesecake that was very good.
Real quick, Christian in chat says the Quiet Man is 45 pesos. That's like 20 cents US dollars.
Oh, I'm looking here. I got my thing open right now. How do you spell my quiet, quite, and quit are all so close. It's hard. Yeah, it's $3 on Steam. I guess I'm gonna buy this.
All right, here we go. All right, that's exciting. Okay, I've never played it. I've never played it.
All reviews mostly negative. The Quiet Man delivers an immersive story-driven cinematic action experience. God, it sounds awful. Seamlessly blending high production live action, realistic CG, and pulse-pounding action gameplay. This offer ends on November 1st. This is a special promotion. It's 80% off. What? Oh my God!
All right, let's do it. And then, Mike, I'm done with community questions. If we have any more super chats,
I can't believe I'm buying this. What's wrong with me? Yeah, we have a few more super chats here. Edward King says, so if Indiana Jones is now in full production, what have Machine Games been working on since late 2017 after Wolfenstein 2? I mean, they've been working on Indiana Jones, but I guess they might have been working on something else.
Well, they contributed to Youngblood, to Wolfenstein Youngblood. They were working on that alongside Arcane. But my guess would be that sometime during that period, there was a lot of pre-production starting on the pitch for Indiana Jones and stuff like that. And that was going to be like a big move for them. So I bet a lot of people contributed to that as well. So, I'm sure that
they made a vertical slice or something even for something like that, right?
Yes. And there's a chance that they could have been working on other projects that are now on the shelf. I think maybe they were thinking if this Indiana Jones thing doesn't work, we will go full into Wolfenstein 3 instead. And I mean, that was my hope. And my hope was that they would continue parallel and do both. But to me, it sounds like, no, it's just Indiana Jones, which is a bummer. But I mean, whatever. I'm excited about Indiana Jones too.
All right. Legendary Nick says, any update on Contraband?
I mean, there's nothing much more to say there. I guess I'll have a little bit to say about like the development of it on next week's Grubb Snacks. I'm going to be doing a big thing about negotiations between like publishers and developers and how those work. And part of that will involve like what's happened between Microsoft and Avalanche and stuff like that, just to illustrate those points. And so I'll be talking a little bit about it. I think Avalanche is the developer of Contraband. I'm like, my brain is fried from Friday, but yeah, I'll talk a little bit about it, but there's not much more to say about the game itself other than that trailer has Steely Dan in it, so it's automatically great.
Big Low 25 asks, do you think Microsoft and Xbox will do a state of play / Nintendo Direct style presentation outside of E3 or the Game Awards anytime soon? I don't think we're going to get anything before the Game Awards. How about you, Jeff?
I don't think we're going to get anything before the Game Awards. Not at this. No, right. They got to sell Halo. They'll sell Halo. They'll sell Halo, and then right after that will be the Game Awards, I think, right? Or maybe the same time. I think it's like the same time. So
it's literally like I think the Game Awards are the day after that because it's the 9th, right?
Right.
And
yeah.
Halo's 8th, my birthday.
So yeah, they'll probably have some other games to talk about there, and then
they might even still have a little Halo something at the Game Awards.
I agree with you. There might be like a lot of commercials for it during that. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yep. All right, Jeff. That's it for the super chats for now. Do you want to talk about some of these games we've been playing?
Yeah. What have I been playing, Mike? What's
playing Guardians, and you said you were going to talk about Pikmin here.
Yes. Okay. Let's talk about Pikmin Bloom real quick. It is like an even more chill version of Pokemon Go. It's about walking outside. It's made by the people who made Pokemon Go, so you should have a good idea already what it is. It's not about like capturing specific points from like other players. It's about working with other players to cover the world in flowers, and you have Pikmin go out and like get like stuff for you, and they come back and they give you basically flower seeds that you can then plant as you walk, and then you go on specific walks to like create trails of flowers, and depending on the different fruits that your Pikmin bring back, they could be different colored flowers, and then you can like put different colored flowers next to another different color flower and use that to like to actually take over a point, but not, again, it's not, you're not taking it away from another team. It's all just cooperative as far as I understand it. And then when you're at home and you can't go for a walk, you can sit down and send your Pikmin on excursions to go get some more fruit and other objects from around your house, and they'll just go do that, and you can set your phone down and pick it back up, and 2 minutes later they're back with a plum or with another pot to plant some more Pikmin or something like that.
It sounds nice. I like that. It almost seems to be more about the walking than playing a game, which
100%.
is something I'm kind of looking forward to. A couple of things. First off, actually, GameFire kind of reminded us here that there's that 20 years of Xbox event coming up next month. We don't know exactly what to expect from that. There'll probably be some legacy stuff.
I don't expect game announcements. This is kind of where I'm at with that. I expect the announcements will be backwards compatible stuff. It'll be more things are getting FPS boosts, so that sort of thing. They're going to be looking backward during that thing, and then they're going to be talking about a little bit more about Halo. But we got the Halo campaign stuff, which is like maybe they'll do that at that 20th anniversary. And to me now, that just says no. We're doing this. Halo's going to be promoted separately, and this 20 years we'll look back at the history of Halo, but it's going to be looking at the history of all kinds of different Xbox stuff and new ways to play those old games. So that's what I expect there.
One question about Pikmin Blue. Do you think it's a little weird they didn't release this like before summer? Like, why now, right when the weather's getting bad?
Well, I mean, ask Christian. It's summer in South America right now.
But that doesn't count.
Imperialist
That's not the real part of the world. That's not the real world. Like, all right. Well, hey, no. Got a little banana on my face. Get it? Banana.
Okay. Well, no, you're right. Obviously, they would prioritize Japan and North America and stuff like that. So why now? I don't know. I think it is fall and right now, and there is something about like fall walks that like kind of jive almost with Pikmin a little bit. Pikmin's aesthetic and stuff. And I am like, if it was summer, I almost feel like I wouldn't want to go on walks as much, but it's like nice and cool outside, and I get to go hang out with my Pikmin, and they're going picking up stuff that have fallen off of trees and stuff. It just feels like harvesty almost, and so to me it jives with the aesthetic, and it's not clashing so much.
Shouldn't it be spring? I don't know how hemispheres work down there. It's not summer there. No,
yes, it is spring, but he keeps complaining about how hot it is when we're talking before the show. So
fair enough.
Yes, you're right. It is 100% spring down there. But yeah.
See, I'm not as stoop as you think I am.
Okay. And then I don't know. Pikmin Bloom is fun. It's free. Go ahead and try it. I want to go on more walks anyhow. I was going on more walks recently, and then Nintendo sent me this, and I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I'll play that. And it's been cool. It's been a fun motivator to go on like longer walks and try to go walking in different places. So I'm planting flowers in different places. But it's not going to change the world. This is not going to be Pikmin Go or Pokemon Go.
Sure, and I think they kind of maybe know that. I think they're burned a bit still from the Harry Potter thing, right?
Right. Which is feels like, has that even been? Is that still going? It almost feels like.
I mean, I don't think it. So there must be some updates, but obviously it was not a big deal.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, they're still probably making the vast majority of their money from Pokemon.
Then Guardians of the Galaxy. It's good. It's good. It is.
You're not as high on it as some. Like, you're higher on it than I thought you would be, but you're still not as high on it as some people are. Some people like really like it.
Right. Some people are like, oh yeah, this is like one of my favorite games of the year, and for me, it's like. I like it more than a lot of games I played this year, but I just hesitate to go that. Like, if I were to give it a score right now, based on what I've played right now, it would be 3 out of 5. I like this game. It is, and that is way better than I thought I was going to end up. I thought it was going to be kind of like boring and janky and cheap feeling, and it's none of those things. It's engaging, and it feels expensive, especially on PC with all the RTX effects and stuff. It looks really good. The face animations are really solid for the most part, and then the characters are good. I think Drax and Rocket are especially very entertaining and complex, and they have a lot going on, and their jokes almost always land. Peter Quill, Star-Lord, is kind of a much more of an acquired taste, but I don't hate him either. And most of the time, like, yeah, he talks less than the other characters, though, for the most part. There are sequences where he talks a lot, and you'll have to eventually learn to like that, or you're probably not going to like the game. I will say that the quips that they throw back and forth when you are like walking from one objective to another in the world, those aren't the best. But anytime when they are arguing about like from their perspectives, and all the characters have very strong, well-defined perspectives about what they think is right and wrong and all this stuff, whenever they're arguing from that point of view, it's all really well done. It feels like it feels like really solid writing you would get on a pretty decent TV show now. Or it almost even reminds me of like Frasier and the way that Frasier Crane and Niles fight with each other, right?
Right. That kind of fun bickering.
Yes, exactly. And it's like, okay, they're nailing that. That's actually pretty impressive. And so I want to spend more time with these characters, and the game's given me a lot of opportunities to do that. And the combat is engaging enough, and people have described it as Final Fantasy VII Remake Light, and I think that's probably pretty accurate. And it's cool to like, upgrade them or whatever, and I think it looks pretty, and I'm just enjoying my time. So I think it's certainly going to be worth it when people go to pick this up when they go to pick it up on sale, or they go to pick it up used. To me, that's a no-brainer. But the question is, like, should you be paying full price for this right now? I think a lot of people, if you like Guardians of the Galaxy, if you looked at this game, and especially if you looked at the trailers and you're like, oh, that looks fun. That's not where I was at. So if you were there, you probably are really going to enjoy this. I think if you're a little bit more skeptical, go ahead and wait for a sale. If you get this game at like $40, to me, that is just you're going to really, really be happy with that, I think. So, yeah.
Man, Big Fresh in chat just said Frasier game next, and now all I can do is imagine. Now I just want to learn how to make pixel art and how to code, so I can make a Frasier point-and-click adventure game that looks like the '90s LucasArts or Sierra online game.
Immediately, what came to my mind too is a LucasArts style.
You don't need those voice actors. You don't have to pay them.
Yep.
You go to Cafe Nervosa. You go to the apartment. You go to the studio. There's my dream project now.
Mm-hmm.
I need. Oh God! All right, Jeff. We heard about your shitty games. You want to hear about Tales of Arise?
Yeah, tell me about it. Actually, here's my question to you. Oh. I have it on Steam because of my account or whatever. Should I play this game?
Oh, Jeff, I am loving it. I really am. I'm impressed by the boost in production values that they did for this series. It's kind of a glow up moment for the franchise, and all the stuff about the Tales games that I still like. That really kind of fast-paced, action-based combat that's very combo-focused, actually, still works really well here. It is still has a bit too much of that anime stuff for you, I think. I don't know. Maybe I think you'd still be frustrated. Even for JRPGs, it's not too long of an onboarding process, but there's a bit of one, and I think you'd be annoyed that you're not playing sooner. And even though it's not, like I said, it's not as bad as even the new Star Ocean looks to be. Like, they're not doing too many. You know how there's voice acting, and then for whatever reason there's anime voice acting. I don't know why the two practices are so different, especially in a video game where you don't need to lip sync like you do. But like, they still just use those voice actors, and there's just certain ways that they do their job compared to how a traditional voice actor will. And sometimes it's weird, and there's a little bit of that, but a lot of the voice acting is very good. It's just, but there are still like the things, like for some reason people grunt too much. Like, people will say something to you, like a thing like, well, I guess that you weren't always right. And they'll always have to go like, like, why did they have to do the, like, we get it. They always have to react. And there was like a part where like the main character like exerted himself, and then like it faded to black, and it woke up, and like, you've been out for a week. And he's like, oh, wow, I'm okay now, though. It's like, why do they do these things? Like, it's stupid. It's ridiculous. That doesn't bother me too much. It might bother you more. But as somebody who has liked some Tales games in the past, not like a giant fan, I haven't played all of them. This is very good. I'm very impressed with it so far. I'm having a lot of fun. It looks great. It runs very well on PlayStation 5. I've been playing a good amount of it, and I am excited to play more.
I mean, I have it. I'll try it. I'll see. I think you're probably right.
See.
But I'm not gonna come in here and whine about it if I don't like it.
Sure,
it'll be the least surprising
enough.
thing in the world. Yeah, and I'll be like that. Okay, not for me. That's fine. It's not gonna be a Red Dead Redemption 2 situation.
Okay, good.
Okay, Mike, let's end this poll and then start to get out of here. Is that good with you?
I got one more super chat we didn't cover yet from Supernova, just saying, is it true?
Yeah.
Is it true that Microsoft got a huge exclusive from a third party? I mean, I bet it's true.
Yeah.
in some sense that we don't really know. I don't know if it's something that people actually know about. Like, that's such a super vague rumor like that floats around. Be skeptical.
Yeah, I think a lot of times we found that, no, we're not saying one thing or another about Millie. We don't know about her rumors, but just a lot of times the rumors like that will pop up and it's not exactly what anyone thinks, or people just got their wires crossed. It happens. But maybe it's true also. We don't know. We just have no idea.
I mean, I'm sure it's true in that Microsoft has a big third-party exclusive in the works, but okay, what does that mean? What is it?
Fair enough. All right. So is Red Dead Redemption 2 good or bad? 74% say good and 25% say bad, and I'm not too surprised by this.
More people think Red Dead Redemption 2 is good than Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. What do you think about that?
That's fucked up, actually. I really think that's fucked up. It makes me really mad. Ratchet and Clank's a video game for one thing. That's one strike against Red Dead Redemption 2 right there. All right, we don't need to go over all this. All right, Mike, I'm gonna hit the button and we can start telling people where they can find us on the internet. Why don't you go first?
Yeah. Check me out on Twitter at Tolkoto, Tolkoto. On November 1st, a new episode of 90s Disney goes out about the Sci-Fi Dine-In Theater, which is their drive-in themed restaurant where they play a bunch of trailers and clips from old 50s monster movies and stuff like that, and horror movies. So that'll be fun. It's slightly Halloween themey too, so if you still have a little bit of a Halloween vibe. Personally, on November 1st, I'm gonna think about getting the tree out and stuff. But we got a super chat real quick. Sender says, if Guardians of the Galaxy doesn't feel like it's worth $60, do you feel Ratchet and Clank is worth $70?
Yes.
Everything's worth whatever to me. I don't get worked up about these prices. I think
I got a code for Ratchet and Clanks, but if I had not and I paid $70, I would not be. Yes, it's worth $70. Absolutely. It's not about how much content is there. It's about how much you're jiving with it, to me, more than that. And I'm jiving with Guardians of the Galaxy enough, and I like it. And to me, I think if I paid $60 for Guardians of the Galaxy, I would be fine. I'm trying to think about other people and their perspective. That's all.
Sure. We're getting close to the extra live stream. We're gonna get more details on that soon. We'll figure that out. Let you guys know. Jeff, where can people find you?
Yeah, I'm Jeff Grubb on Twitter. We are hammering out those details. We've started doing that in our Discord a little bit.
It's been a busy week. It's been hard to do it this week.
Exactly, yeah. But I'm thinking chances are I'm going to start very early on November 6th and stream for at least 12 to 18 hours and overlap with Mike, and then Mike will take it into the next morning or whatever. But we're going to finalize those details really soon. We'll have
Did you just play some of Mario World by accident?
Not by accident. She did. She has that the Christmas ornament, the Super Nintendo Christmas ornament.
I was like, what the hell was that?
She loves those things, and I've had them hidden for a really long time, and now she's found them again. This is what it's like with her around here. She gets into everything. And then How Games Make Money. I'm setting up a new podcast to do this week with the people that hand out codes for Death's Door. So
really?
They're like, hey, you want to? They're texting me and stuff. You want to do this? Okay, that's right. Yeah, of course you guys are great guests.
That's what Tilly was yelling at you about.
Yeah, that's what she was yelling at me about, exactly. And then I'm gonna go to a hockey game with her, and then she'll just hand me my copy of Death's Door in person, and it'll be great. All right, everybody, we're getting out of here. Have a good one. Take care of yourself. Goodbye.
Bye. Take this monkey hat off now.